Nobody. You can't have just clean socks, dog. And they stink. You don't want them socks. You don't want them socks. No, sir, no. Pablo. Come here, Bubs. You don't want them socks. They stink. Nobody. Wee. Socks, dog. They stink. You don't want them socks. You don't want them socks. Pablo. Come here, Bubs. You don't want them socks. They stink. Wee. Socks, dog. They stink. You don't want them socks. You don't want them socks. Let me mute this here. What's going on, Harry? All right. Warner Robins, right on. Let's see if I can't pop out. There we go. Getting this set up. All right. Right there, I see, right there. All right, so let me just take a quick look here. Hey, James. The Pats. Whoa. How'd the Patriots get the ball? The Cowboys had 1st and 10 at their own 45. Now the Pats got the ball at the Dallas 8. How'd that happen? What's going? Yeah, Oklahoma, right on. Hope there's no tornadoes going through, my man. How'd the Patriots get the ball? Was there an interception? Hey, what's going on, CJ? Yeah, Pablo was. My son just got done playing some tennis, and he left his socks on the stairwell. Never seen that happen before. And Pablo got one and is over there chowing on it, and the socks stink. I'm like, Pablo, why would you chow on that thing? Nuts. Such a nugget. All right, hold on just a second. Got to get updated here. Oh, freaking. You better be able to stick this in, Tom. Pittsburgh, right on. All right, so the Patriots, 13-9. The freaking their kickers missed 2 field goals. I was watching the Panthers. Keeping track of the Panthers. Y'all can hear me, right? Give me a thumbs up if you can, or say something if you can hear me, just to make sure I'm not muted. Hey, Daniel. Freaking. So, anyways, watching the Panthers. Oh, listen. All right, buddy. I guess you like Liam Sock. Hey, Alberto. And their freaking kicker missed. Their kicker missed 2 extra points and a field goal, a 28-yard field goal. And I said, you're going to get freaking. So the Panthers had the ball 1st and goal at the 2 with like 3 minutes left in the game. And they couldn't stick it in. And I said, hey, what's going on, Chris? I hope you watch the Pats. Chris is from Maine. Don't hold it against him, because if you hold it against him, you have to hold it against me. Hey, long story short, and they couldn't. You can't freaking. Then they missed a 2-point. Just the coaching is horrible. Has always been in the NFL. But anyway, all right. Hold on, I'm just watching the Pats. You know they're going to lose this. They got 4th and goal at the Dallas 15. They're going to kick a field goal, I'm sure, and then the Dallas are going to get the ball back. They'll be down 16-9. You know they're going to get a touchdown, a 2-point conversion to win with 2 seconds left on the clock. You heard it here first. Anyway, so the freaking kicker can't make an extra point. 2 he misses. And a 28-yard field goal. That guy's, you got to cut that guy tomorrow. It's crazy. Anyway, then Drew Brees gets the ball at their own like 5-yard line or something like that. And of course, he takes it down to get a game-winning field goal. Man, I cannot stand the Saints. Oh, yeah. All right, dinner almost done, says Deb. Deb, where are you? Are you in Louisiana? Because Renault sounds like either a Louisiana name or a French-Canadian name. Take the sock away from some dog swallowed them. Don't you growl at me, child. Ooh, man, that stinks. All right, I just did. CJ took the sock away from them. All right, so what do we want to talk about today? So what time is it? 7:30, right on the dot. So what I was wanting to do is I want to share my screen, and I'm going to show you. I was going to show you. Yeah, so this is individual tax income returns from the IRS. Let me just hold on just a second. Okay, there's only 5 seconds left in the game. Okay, gotcha. So the Patriots, they still got 5 seconds, a second left on the clock. So I guarantee the Patriots going to lose. You ready? All right, there's still a second left on the clock. Dallas has the ball at their own 15. We know they're going to lose. All right, so anyway, this right here is the, I tell you, there's so much ton of information for you data geeks like me on all this stuff on the IRS tax statistics, individual income tax returns. I mean, I could look at this stuff all day long. Just tons and tons and tons and tons of stuff. So let me just go ahead and put the link right now in the show notes. You okay, buddy? All right, hold on just a second. We're gonna come down here. You know, you may or may not be interested in individual tax stuff, but if not, it's fine. But I freaking love this. And you can. All right, looks like the Pats still got. Oh, that's it. The Pats won. All right, 13-9. I predicted the Dallas would win 21-13. My boy predicted the Pats would win 27-17. So anyway, what do you know? The Pats are, you know, they got stomped by the AFC. The NFC East isn't very solid this year. The Pats have played the AFC North, got spanked by Pittsburgh. I don't think they spanked the Browns, but they got spanked by, not Pittsburgh, by Baltimore. That was their one loss. And they play the AFC North and the NFC East. And then, of course, their own division is pretty sorry too. Except the Bills look pretty good. Anyway, so I don't think the Patriots. I think they're going to go to obviously get the first round bye, and then they'll lose in the first round. The semifinals, essentially, the division finals when they play the Ravens. You heard it here first. All right. Anyway, so tons of stuff on the tax stuff, which I love. Hold on a second. All right, then I want to show you this right here, and I hate to keep going back to this. Where's my floating? Oops. All right, cool. Pats went hit right on. Yeah, so my man Alberto says, I've been thinking about retirement. I really like it. Overseeing the bay with an adult drink and my bride. Life is good. You know, it's interesting you said that, Alberto, because going back to the lady I was talking to in California yesterday or 2 days ago, who was saying that, you know, the walk on the beach. I just, you know, how can you how can you trade that walk on the beach or whatever it is, you know, drinking, looking over the bay or looking over the mountains or whatever it is you want to do for, you know, just, I don't know how you could trade that in for $3,000 to save in taxes. I couldn't. My man Sergio wrote back in about California that, you know, he's like 10 minutes from the beach. He's got all these restaurants, all this and all that. Look, I've never moved to California. I never will. But if you enjoy where you're at, you know, and you're going to a place, they've done studies that show you that people are happier in retirement when they're around a community of like-minded people. That doesn't mean like it's got to be homogenous, but when you have a community of people, people are happier. That's all there's to it. And one study was in Canada, actually. They did some rural town in Canada, very homogenous, you know, very white, very Christian, it was weird, and they was very, very happy. And then they went to like Toronto, and they weren't. And they said, you know, there's something about the community, and I'm sure if you went to a liberal enclave, it'd be the same thing. But there's something about a community that makes people happy. And I'm just like I was telling this lady, I said, look, you got your church group there, you got your friends, your mom's still there. Basically, you've been there for 50 years. She was an immigrant from I forgot, Eastern Europe someplace, and it's just as interesting to me because I think a lot of people discount the idea of a community that's part of your of where you want to lay down your roots, essentially. And that's why I don't, not that many people actually do relocate. I mean, I know we hear California to Idaho and stuff, and in terms of the actual number of Californians moving is not very high. It's not an actual number of people from New York and New Jersey moving south is not very high. Just the IRS does stuff on that, or Census Bureau, on actual moving, and what we find is that just not that many people do, not relative to what you think. And I just think that's interesting, because you think that there's this tons and tons of people that actually move. There isn't. Most people stay. If the vast majority of movings are intra-county. In fact, our neighbor just down the street, they just moved, sold their house, sold just like that for a pretty good price, which made me happy. But anyway, they just moved intra-county. They're still in Fulton County, and they just moved in intra-county, which is pretty interesting to me. All right, so I want to just go over again. I talk about this a lot, but I cannot stress. Oops, yeah, right here. Oh wait, hold a sec. How do I get my thing back? All right. Hey, Ann. By all means, if you can find a way to send a picture by the bay, do so. That sounds awesome. All right, so how do I get this back on? How do I hold on just a second? All right, I'm not sure how to get that. Right there. Oops, I am signed in. Okay. Oh, there it is. All right, sweet. All right, so what I want to show you this. Hold on a sec. All right. I cannot stress this enough. This is from the BLS, and I talk about this all the time. It probably bores you to death, but I find this is incredibly important. So this is from and I just did a video on this the other day. On 2018, the BLS, the Bureau of Labor Statistics, their Consumer Expenditure Survey, CES. So the BLS has this thing called the CES Consumer Expenditure Survey. And I just, man, look at that. It's 131,000 people they're sampling. This is statistically relevant. It's not 100 people freaking in front of Walmart. It's a huge amount of people they're sampling. Just want to make sure. Oh, we're Sleeping McGee. Oh, he is so cute. He's so cute. See if I should find the picture that my daughter sent to me. Hold on just a second. Josh, you ramble too much. Look at that. That's my daughter and son taking him out for a walk. They put my Washington Capitals beanie on him because it's cold out here. It's awesome. All right, so we got 33,000 households that are 65 and older were surveyed. And the interesting thing about the BLS numbers is this is it's like I said in my video, the gold standard of surveys. It's not, freaking what's the one, Gallup, politically. Gallup is okay, non-political stuff, but there's another one, the NBC News political stuff, and all that's fake. This is literally a survey of real people who are really who have to go out of their way to create the data set that BLS uses, Consumer Expenditure Survey. And then we go over here, 19,000 are 65 and 74, and 13,000 are 75 and older. And I can't stress enough what happens here is that we have income. Now their income drops from, it goes from 88,000 to 60,000. So when they were 55 to 64, that's 88,000. Their peak years are right here, 45 to 54. And then you see how this works? So you go 96,000, 109,000, 88,000. All right, so you got 96 to 109 to 45 and 54. So if someone's saying we're going to say you're going to retire based on this level, and this is a mean, not the median, the mean, the average. So this would actually probably, and this is just a household they survey. So if I were to do the median, it'd probably be even higher than this. But anyway, I don't even care about it. The point is they're saying we're surveying 23,000 households who are 45 to 54. The average is $109,000. All right. No, the median would be lower than that. Excuse me. Right? The median would be lower. I think the median would be lower. I forgot. But anyway, I think it is. I think the median's lower. Anyway, long story short. So they're surveying 23,000 people who have $109,000 as the average income per household. So if you were to be surveyed here and say, do you think you're going to be able to retire, and you're going to insinuate I need, I don't have my calculator. Hold on a second. They're going to say I need 80% of this amount of money right here. I need 109 times 0.8. I need $87,000 in retirement because this is my income today. Huh? And then they say, okay, well, maybe I'm going to survey you at 55 to 64. I got $88,000 as the average income. I need 80% of that because they say the rule of thumb is 80% of your pre-retirement income. Well, hell, these are my pre-retirement incomes right here. Why do I need 80% of that? If you actually look at retirees, they don't have 80% of that. Look at that, 75 and older, they don't have 80% of that. They have a whole hell of a lot less than 80%. I mean, you can have 80%. I'm not saying it's a bad thing to have, but I mean, why do we say this when we actually have, if you look at the average for people who are 65 and over, they don't have 85% of their pre-retirement years. So if we go 88,000, we take 51,000 divided by 88. These people have this right here is 57% of this right here. 57%. And in fact, this right here is, I mean, hell, that's 51 divided by 109. That's 46% of this right here. Now, this is for 65 and older on average. So look, you can see a pretty significant drop off of income from 65 to 74 and 75 years old. I wonder why that would be. Anyone? Let me just, I got to get the commas up here. Yeah, okay, there you go, Robert. Why do you think that would be? Let's take a gander, shall we? So here's 75 and older, and here's 65 to 74. Why do you so Robert, take a guess why you think. Hey, what's going on, Scooby-Doo? Marie, what's up? All right, so Frank says, is that a two-person? I wish I could keep this out here. Yeah, man, Frank, you win the internets of the day. So Frank says, looks like the size of the household drops over time. 100% correct. In fact, that's what makes this number. I'm such a geek on this stuff. If we can go over here, average number in consumer unit. And if we come down, all consumer units, the average number in a consumer unit is basically a household 2.5. But then look, 65 to 74 is 1.9. 75 and older is 1.6. Does that make sense? So you see a significant drop off in the average household number of people in the household. Thus, you're going to have, I mean, that's 0.3 divided by 1.9. That's a 16% drop off in the household size right there. So 16% of the households are going to lose one Social Security, maybe a pension. I mean, who knows what else they're losing, but they're losing income right here because their household is dropping off. That's Frank, you hit on the head. In fact, the interesting thing is here's 3.4, 35 to 44 years old, average number in the consumer unit. And then if you look adults 65 and older, you can learn on that. But anyway, so what you see here is you'll see a significant drop off 3.4, 2.9, 2.2, 1.8 to 1.6. That's exactly why the number of the income dropped so much. And this right here is only $18,000 between the two. $18,000. That's $1,500 a month, which is the average Social Security benefit. And again, I take issue with the average anyway, but that makes sense. So if one person dies, the average Social Security benefit is $1,500 a month. There you go. That's the difference between those two numbers right there. So good call, Frank. Okay, Deb says she grew up in the Bay Area, worked for PG&E. Right on, man. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I'd be more in support of moving if I didn't have to pack too, Mike. That's such a pain. Chris says he's planning on being a snowboard type of the long winter up here. Not just sure where yet. Someplace warm. Yep. Set everything on fire. Hernando, North Carolina. Georgetown, Texas. Just read an article about Georgetown, Texas. Who said that? Cheryl B. That they wanted to go 100% renewable. And guess what happened to their electricity bills? They wanted to go to 100% renewable. Because I know a lot of people in Georgetown, Texas. So I don't want to say a lot, but a lot of my clients from like Rochester, New York and stuff moved to Georgetown, Texas. And they wanted to go green. And their electricity bills went up. Not 10, not 20, but 22%. Amazing. Mike says if he was at PG&E, California, if he's in California, PG&E would set it all on fire. And it's actually not PG&E. It's the nuts of the regulations that they can't clear cut around those freaking electric wires. So just the whole state is insane. I mean, my God, man, you're going to have this freaking dense forest falling around all these electric, stupid. This is interesting. Prairie Mark says, he lives in Montana. Moving van companies have hired my brother to return moving van trucks back from Texas to California. They were taking a busload of drivers from Montana. So to return and moving from back. So they dropped them off in Texas and they had to take a busload of drivers from Montana to Texas to take those moving trucks back to California. That's interesting. Yeah, Pats. I tell you though, the Pats never make it easy, Rob. I'm just telling you, man. Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw this. Someone has sent me this feed, marketwatch.com with no income tax on that. What happens if I click that? Will it show up? Let's see. I think this was it. Yeah, this was a hard article to read. Tom, in fact, I forgot. My man Jimmy sent this to me. This was a hard article to read right there. I'll put a link. Let me just go ahead and put a link in it right now. I was quite disappointed on this guy. He made it a lot more difficult than it needed. But there's that article right there. I'm learning this Zoom. I can do this at the same time that we're talking, which I love. It's actually a pretty interesting article, but I didn't understand. He said this right here. The standard deduction for married couples who's under 65 is $24,400. And the top of the 0% tax capital gains tax bracket is $78,750. I don't get that. I mean, so we can make it. So this is what it says: we can make a total of $103,000 a year, provided that our ordinary income stays below the standard deduction. I don't understand that. So he says we can make a total of $103,000 a year, provided that our ordinary income stays below the standard deduction. That didn't make sense to me. Anyway, it's an interesting article, and he has some nice charts, but then he starts getting a little bit too fancy for my taste. He got constrained by. Anyway, whatever. It was too much for me. I don't have the patience. I need it simple. Keep it simple, stupid. All right. So why? Okay. Looks like yeah. So Rob says more people not working, collecting Social Security. So I want to go back to this real quick. We'll get back to some of your questions here in just a second. But so remember, this is a 3 columns: 65 and older, 65 to 74, and 75 and above. And we already talked about the number of people in consumer units dropped from 2.2 to 1.8 to 1.6. I wish I knew how to make this smaller, man. But just okay. All right, so then we'll see here, and this is interesting too, the number of women, 57 to 43 in that population group, which doesn't surprise anybody. Men die sooner. That's literally all there is to it. And yet you can see the number of women is split, even Stephen right here, 25 to 34, men to woman, and then the men start dying. Whereas the feminists saying we got to keep our men alive, because men lives matter, because we're dying off like crazy because we do riskier jobs. I was actually listening to a podcast the other day by some guy who's a stay-at-home dad, and he's a writer, and he said, I don't get what the feminists are all big on wanting women to go to work, because he loves staying home with the kids. He gets to write, he sends them to school, he gets the whole day to himself to do stuff. He goes, I think the whole thing for feminism was a complete fraud established by men who want to be able to do the same thing. And I never thought about it like that, but I stay home. My wife works now. It's freaking awesome, dude. It's awesome. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, I don't have the maternal instinct she does. I'd let my kids, freaking whatever they want to do. But I'm telling you, it was an interest. And the lady interviewing him was, it's what's her name? I'll show you her. She is named Fedesi. What's her name? Someone named Fedesi. Bridget Fedesi. And I thought it was pretty interesting, because she's like, yeah, what the hell? I mean, feminism was about, advancing women, but have we actually advanced women? Because now men are happier than women, because women have the both things. They want to have a career and they want to have get out there and still raise their family. And she goes, that's too much. I completely agree. Look, people do whatever the hell they want to do. I don't care. But I found it funny. It's like men promoting feminism is would only make sense because that means men get to stay at home and work from home, which is pretty cool. Because I love it. Anyway, I just found that funny. Look, men die off like crazy, and women live longer. Isn't that interesting? Also, the big thing I thought too, this is housing tenure. And Frank, if that, I don't even, I mean, look, if you find that offensive, you haven't been watching this YouTube channel for long, because pretty much everything that comes out of my mouth, someone's going to find offensive, unfortunately. And Frank, I don't care. Homeowner, what we'll have is, so if we go up here, this is under 25 years old, and we have only 13% of that population is homeowners. 41% is homeowners over 25, and then we'll get to right here, 73% of the population, 55 to 64, are homeowners. However, 44% of that population has a mortgage. So 76% of the population is a homeowner. 44% of that homeowner population has a mortgage. 44%, yeah, of the homeowner population has a mortgage, and 24% is rent. So if we take the people with a mortgage and people with rent, that is 68%. So more than 2/3 of the population of people 55 to 64 have a significant debt or outflow they have to pay for rent or for mortgage. Isn't that interesting? If we go here to my age group, 45 to 54, 52% of the homeowners have a mortgage, and 32% of the homeowners have a rent. So 84% of this population right here is indebted somewhere to somebody. And does that have any correlation with the mass increases of suicide? I don't know. I don't know. But I find that to be illuminating, if not kind of frightening, actually, when you think about, look at that. 90% of the population, 35 to 44, has a mortgage or rent. 84% of the population, 45 to 54, has mortgage or the rent. 68% of the population, 55 to 64, does. And then 44% of the population over 65 has mortgage or rent. And then if you go above 75, only 37% of the people have mortgage or rent. And isn't that interesting? And if we go to 65 to 74, only less than half have mortgage or rent. And so again, the whole point is the expenses go down because this right here, the people with a mortgage, goes down. I mean, so you can see with your very eyes, man. And so to say, I need 80% of this income right here, it's freaking stupid, because I mean, I will say this until I'm blue in the face. We have numbers, real numbers, that say you don't need 80%, because here's the people without a mortgage, and it drops significantly as you get older. Now the number of people who rent drops significantly as you get older too. Look, here's a population 35 to 44, 44 to 54, 54 to 64, 65 and above. The number of people who rent drops as well. And so as the number of people rent and the number of people with a mortgage drops, well, that money is going someplace if you still keep it, or you don't need it. Nuts. Now, okay, so let's just go over the annual expenditures again. Let me just check the comments real quick. All right. Lydia Santiago, right on. All right. My wife has, okay, hold on a sec. Okay. So my man Rob says, Roth conversions, assuming you won't be bumped into a higher tax bracket, is it better to use 401k money to pay the taxes to start compound earlier, or better to string it out and pay taxes with income? I just say pay it from the 401k. And so let's say you have two accounts. You got a 401k with $100,000 and you got $100,000 in your brokerage account, just using those for an example. And you're going to convert $35,000, Rob, and we'll just say for simplicity, it costs you $15,000. So 35 goes to Roth, 15,000 is going to Uncle Sam. You're going to take the money from your 401k to pay the conversion. So now your Roth is left with $50,000. Your Roth has $35,000 in it, and your rest of your 401k has $50,000 in it because you had to pay the $15,000 taxes. So that makes sense. So you're down $15,000. Your Roth has 35, your 401k has 50, your brokerage account still has 100. So it's 100, 35, 50. The reason I like that is because the whole point is we want that 401k to be reduced as much as we possibly can. Let me bust out my little cheat sheet here. I got a new one. We want tax deferred, down, tax free, and taxable up. This is what we want to happen. Tax deferred down, tax free, taxable accounts up. And the reason we want that to happen is because this is just me now. I want to get the burden off my back now. I do not like I don't like anything lingering. And I'm just telling you right now, for instance, last year or 2 years ago, I can't remember, but I had to pay like $20,000 in taxes I wasn't expecting. And I didn't have the money, man. I hated that. And so I was like, this freaking sucks. I'd rather have paid that, just be done with it, and not have to worry about it anymore. And the same thing comes with this, is that you're paying the taxes now, you're not gonna have to pay them again. Now people say, oh, we could get, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we can say all day long, we might get a, freaking Bolshevik in office, and who knows. At the end of the day, though, under current tax law, you don't have to pay those taxes again. So just get it done and be done with it. But on top of that, there's benefits, as I've talked a million times, between these two accounts. A tax-free account inherently is tax-free. You take the money out when you need it. If you're in a high tax bracket and you want to pull money out to buy a new car, you pull from here. It's tax-free. You want to leave it to the kiddos, you leave this to the kiddos because they inherit it with a step-up basis. No tax due to them on inheritance. I mean, so we can minimize this where you're not getting any long-term dividends or qualified dividends or capital gains for the most part. But even if you were in a lower tax bracket and you're getting qualified dividends, long-term capital gains is taxed lower. And let me draw this out. I actually just did this. The last video of my course, I just did this. I'm going to show it to you. And I almost felt like putting it up there for free, but I'm not going to. So we got ordinary income, long-term capital gains, or qualified dividends. All right, so this says ordinary income everywhere and anywhere is taxed higher than long-term capital gains or qualified dividends. All right. So ordinary income everywhere is higher. Bonds pay OI. Bonds pay ordinary income. That's what they pay. So if stocks pay LTCG or Q qualified dividends. Stocks pay LTCG and qualified dividends. So on the basis of basic logic, and Rob is a lawyer, so he would have done something like this on his LSAT. If you have bonds, you inherently are paying more in taxes than you have for stocks because bonds are ordinary income and stocks are not. But the same thing goes with IRA distributions. IRA distributions come out as OI, ordinary income. Stocks in a brokerage account, if they pay anything at all, are coming out as long-term capital gain. They should be, and qualified dividends. Again, they should be. And so because of that, and because OI is always and everywhere higher tax than long-term capital gains or qualified dividends, we want to have more of our assets in things that produce less OI and more long-term capital gain and qualified dividends. So let me just draw this to you here real quick. We got OI, LTCG, and qualified dividends. OI, we got 10 to 12, 22 to 24, 33 and 35. I can't remember. And then we got 0, 15, 20. All right, so watch this. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Hold on just a second. Oh, there we go. So here, ordinary income, 10 to 12 income bracket, you have nothing for income on long-term capital gain or qualified dividends, nothing. Ordinary income, 22 to 24% income tax bracket. You pay 15% in long-term capital gains and qualified dividends. Ordinary income tax bracket, 33 to 35%. You're paying 20% on long-term capital gains and dividends. So every single time, ordinary income is taxed higher than long-term capital gains and qualified dividends. So we want to reduce this as soon as we possibly can, even if it means we're paying a little bit more today, even if it means we're paying in a higher tax bracket today, because at the end of the day, if you go from 22 to 24, it's just not that big of a deal. Now, if you go from 12 to 22, that's a big deal. If you go to 22 to 33, that's a big deal. But most people will be staying in here. I mean, 22 to 24 is not a big deal. It's just not. If you got an extra $10,000 that was going to be taxed at 22%, that was going to pay $2,200 in taxes. But now you say, I don't want to go. No, I'm saying you, Rob, but I don't want to go to the 24% tax bracket. An extra $10,000 is going to cost you $200 more in taxes. That's it. So I can't stress this enough. I just take your trusty calculator, folks, and say, hey, how much will this cost me? Literally, don't just say, I don't want to go to the next highest tax bracket. Why? Because I'll pay more taxes. Yes, but how much from an actual dollar percentage, how much of dollar amount, how much will that be? Well, if I have an extra $10,000 that I could have been taxed at 22%, but now it's taxed at 24%, that'll cost me $200. Yeah, right. That's it. Is that really worth staying in that 22% tax bracket at one time? No. I mean, there's other things you got to consider, or Medicare stuff, but Rob's not on Medicare stuff, so it doesn't matter. So anyway, don't get too caught up, my friends, on I got to stay in this lower tax bracket so I don't pay a little bit more. Same thing goes back for CDs and cash. When I was at USA, I used to get people all the time. I'm just sitting in cash. Why? I'm going to wait for the market to fall. I said, why don't you put in CDs? No, I don't want to do that. So you got $100,000 paying you 1/10 of 1%. All right. And then if we can put in a short-term CD that gives you a free penalty-free withdrawal, and you get 1%, $100,000 pays $1,000 on 1%. $100,000 pays what, $10 on 1/10 of 1%. So you're willing to sacrifice $990. But no, I mean, you got to put it in terms like dollar bills. And once you hear dollar bills, you start really realizing some of the absurdity of the financial industry. That's where they always get you on the 1% thing. It's just 1% of assets. You're still keeping, I listened to a guy the other day, he's like, they're only charging you 1%. So you're still keeping 99% of your asset base. Oh, that's not so bad, Johnny. I should buy that guy because he's I'm letting me keep 99% of my asset base. Yeah, that's what they want you to think. But then if you say, well, how much is that 1% costing you? Well, it's costing you freaking 10, 15, 20,000 bucks. That's still, you're keeping 99% of your assets. Why does it matter if it's 1%? Because the only thing that matters is the dollar bill amount. Drives me crazy. All right, let's keep going now. Browns coming together, not without Myles Garrett. What's his name? Myles Garrett. Miles the head basher. However, I will say, I watched my man Flemlo Raps, who always steers me right. And Flemlo had a thing where he's talking about Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph were both wrong. I was like, oh boy, they're going to go after Mason Rudolph because he's a white guy like that Max Kellerman guy did. And I was like, here we go. But he showed the highlight, and Mason Rudolph was trying to pull the guy's helmet off. There's no other way around that. And if you ever played football and it hits on your ear like that, and look, I sucked at football, but I played for 3 years, and he was trying to yank it off, and rightly or wrongly, he didn't. That's not right to get hit in the head with. I don't get that, but he did have something to blame. It looked like the NFL fined him $50,000, and I thought that was probably the way to go for sure. You can't be pulling people's helmets off. I mean, you obviously can't be freaking slinging a helmet at some dude, but. Anyway, it wasn't, there's more to the story, as there always is, especially when it comes between the races. There's always more to the story. And so, my man Flemmo, as I was getting ready to be disappointed, I was like, oh, here we go. Max Kellerman, these guys just hate on the white quarterback, Earl Campbell, but he was right. Mason Rudolph engaged in bad activity. That was not a football move. It was to cause a ruckus, and at the end of the day, Myles Garrett should have done what he did, and he got fined or suspended, which he well should have, and then Mason Rudolph got fined too. So I thought that was a surprise. The NFL actually did something right for once. El Catrin says, "Saludos de." That means for you all non-Spanish speakers like my man El Catrin and I, "Hola Josh" means hello Josh. "Saludos desde San Diego, California" means hello from, or something from California, San Diego's. I forgot what Saludos drinks up or something like that. Salute. Harry just moved to Oklahoma from Tejas. All right, let's see what else we got here. Now go back to right on, Rob. Got your question. Sorry about that. After 74, must have used up IRA. Oh, going back to this, I think. I mean, after 74 must have used up. See, so what? Who said that? Actually, is a good observation. Frank, no, Roy Jones. And if I disagree with Roy Jones, he's going to box me. He says after 74, while their income drops off, they must have used up IRA. There's literally no evidence of that whatsoever. And in fact, it's funny because that's what Jonathan Clements said to the Ty Bernicki article when Ty Bernicki had first introduced this concept to me of the reality retirement spending when your actually income goes down. And Clements, this back in 2005 or 4, Journal for Financial Planning. And Clements, whose notoriety for me is that he wrote for the Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal loves these Brits. I never knew Jonathan Clements was a Brit. It was weird. And I just heard him interview about 3 or 4 months ago. I said, that guy's Brit. Because Wall Street Journal also has Matt Ridley, who's a Brit. And I was like, can they find people in America? Weird. But anyway, so Clements has always been bashing the industry. He's notorious for writing, it's time to stop the financial advisor's 1% fee, which I agree with. Then Clements went to jump on the board of Creative Planning, where they charge, you got it, 1%. I guess I got a friend, and he probably wouldn't even consider me his friend anymore, who was furious at me because I was saying, look, man, at 1%, it's just not worth the fee. He goes, you don't, blah, 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 blah. I was like, look, dude, at the end of the day, there's a better way to do financial planning. It's not charging 1% of assets. It's just not. He knows it. I know it. Everybody knows it. But my point wasn't about that. My point was the hypocrisy of Jonathan Clements, who for years and years and years bashed the financial industry because of the fees they charge, and then turn around and joined the evil empire on a firm that charges 1% fee. I said, it's crazy. Anyway, so Clements said, Roy, Clements said, yeah, at the end of the day, the reason why their income flows drop is because they run out of money. It's pure speculation. And this is what friggin' pisses me off about the media part of my French. He didn't say it's speculation. He just stated as if it was a fact. And it wasn't a fact. It wasn't. There was no evidence of that. He just stated it. But because he's writing from the media, unfortunately, that gets filtered down and people say, well, Jonathan Clements from the Wall Street Journal says the reason people spend less is because they have less money and less retirement accounts. It's nuts. That's why I can't stand the media, because it's all fake and it's speculation, and it was wrong. He didn't know that. And how we know that is because now, after what's going on 15 years now, more and more researchers have come to the conclusion that Bernicki, and there's actually another group of folks from 1999 who had written that to begin with, were right. People's expenditures go down because they spend less money. Has nothing to do necessarily. There's no correlation between them spending less money because they're running out of money. It doesn't correlate like that. We don't know. In fact, if anything, and this is what my argument is, we have 80% of retirees are satisfied or partly satisfied in retirement. Oh, is it satisfied or very satisfied? That's what it is. 80% of all retirees are either very satisfied or satisfied in retirement. Every single survey they show this. Those people cannot be satisfied or very satisfied in retirement if they were out of money. Because if they spent all their IRA and now they're living just on Social Security alone, that means they don't have enough to live on. And there's no way they're going to say they're satisfied in retirement if they don't have enough to live on. No way. And so the evidence that we have from various numbers of, just researchers like this is that people, and just my own anecdotal evidence. I mean, I've seen it a million times. How much does Grammy and Grampy spend as they age? Well, they spend less because they don't do as much. Yeah, it's just there's so much empirical evidence on this anymore. It has nothing to do with run out of money. Now, some people do. I don't deny that, but you can't say they're spending this much less because they're running out of money. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. My argument is they're spending this much less because one of those people dies and Social Security goes away. That's my argument there. But okay, let's go back to what I want to show you. All right, so this right here is their expenditures. I should say this is their income, not their expenditures. Here comes their expenditures right here. And what we see here is that we have expenditures. All right, again, this is just the average, not the median. And so you see their expenditures are quite low relative to their income streams. Now, their income streams are after taxes. And this is, the taxes are pretty big. Don't get me wrong. But look at that. Taxes, if you're 75 and above, the average household pay $2,000 of total taxes. That's not so bad, my friends. Oh, but I live in California. I live in Maryland. Yeah, okay. You're not, I mean, you're just not, if you're making this kind of money, you're paying no tax. If you're 65 to 74, the average household pays all of, what's that, $5,500 in tax. Again, not a huge, just not a huge amount of money, relatively speaking. It's just not a huge tax burden whatsoever. So if we go down here, we say this person right here, who is 55 to 64, they're bringing $73,000 a year net of taxation. Then we come down, their annual expenditures are 66,000. This is the average 65-year-old and above household. They got $50,000 as their expenditures, and they're bringing in, whereas after taxes, $46,000. How they're making ends meet? They're pulling money from their IRAs and 401ks for sure. Or they have stuff that's not taxable whatsoever. Because if you have it right here, $51,000, and you're in a 10 to 12% tax bracket, you're not paying anything on capital gains and dividends. You're spending you have income of $51,000, but you're only spending $50,000 right there. I don't know. Or they're borrowing against their home, taking a first mortgage. We don't know. But if it's not showing up on the 1040, are they paying tax on it? I don't know. And then here we got $43,000 of what their average annual expenditures are. And again, this whole thing is averages, so you got to take it with a grain of salt because average and median can be significantly different. But I find it very interesting. They're saying their average expenditures are $43,000 a year. Their average income is $36,000 a year net of taxes. So obviously, according to this, they're not have enough income to meet their expenditures. Well, why would that be? Well, what does their income come from? And that's the issue here. Income before taxes, income after taxes. Let's go all the way down and see. Actually, I don't know. So let's take a look and see what their income is reporting. And we're going to come down here. And I don't think it tells us what their income is. No, it doesn't. But it'll tell us what their expenditures are. And I want to show you. Let's go to housing. See, right here. Okay, is this income? Yes, right here. All right. Sources of income and personal taxes. Social Security, government benefits. All right. So we got right here, if you're 60, 75 and above, $26,000 is from Social Security. We got some are making a little bit of income, wages and salaries. Self-employment income, some are making that. And then we got interest, dividends, rental income. Some are making that right there. That's interest, dividends, rental income, other property income. All right, let's keep going down. Whoa. Wait a second. Do you see something? What's this not showing here? Interest, dividends, rental income, other property income is not showing capital gains. It's not showing private and government retirement. Is that from 401k distributions? We don't know. That's the thing with the Census Bureau. The Census Bureau, they do a study and it's completely off because they don't make a separate case to say if it's an IRA distribution. They say pensions and retirement accounts. And they say pensions and retirement or something like that. It's even worse than that. And so people think it's because if they don't have a pension, their IRA distribution doesn't flow into retirement accounts. And so they don't ever write on their survey that their income is coming from IRA distribution. So if someone says Social Security, private and government retirement, you may think that's an IRA. I don't really know. I don't know. I would think that would be, but I don't know for sure. Now we know what wages and salaries are. We know what self-employment income. Pretty good idea what interest and dividends are, but is tax exempt interest? I don't know. I mean, I would think most people probably get that. This is the big one right there. What exactly does that mean? Here we got SNAP, Supplementary Nutrition Assistance Program. We got supplemental SSI, Supplemental Security Income, public assistance, unemployment, other income. But notice there's nothing in there that says IRA, 401k distributions. It just says Social Security, private and government retirement. What does that mean? I mean, I don't know. It doesn't say this. Where does it say pensions? Doesn't say that there. So that's the issue. That's the income that we're talking about. I just happen to believe that the reason oh man, I just lost it. Oh, there we go. I think the socials, hold on just a second. I think the income is pretty set, cut and dry when it comes to Social Security. If I could get back to it. Hold on a second. Right here. I think this one's pretty cut and dry. People knows their Social Security. I think this says the average household who's 70 years old, 75 plus, is making 26,000 Social Security, which represents 1.6 persons per household. So the average person in that household is getting 26,212 divided by 1.6. $16,000 is the average, is basically what the average person is getting, or $32,000 if you took them times 2, or even you can look at husbands getting a little bit more, wives getting a little bit less, however you want to look at it. However, I think the average household is getting $26,000 Social Security benefits. I think that's pretty cut and dry. I would highly suggest that a lot of people don't think this includes IRA distributions. That's what I think. And because we have evidence of that with the Social Security data. In fact, I'm not going to bring it up for you, but we actually have the Social Security Administration is not using Census Bureau data explicitly because they said they aren't sure they didn't say they didn't trust it, but they weren't sure how reliable. Now, this is the BLS. This isn't the Census Bureau. And this is the Consumer Expenditure Survey, not this Consumer Income Survey. It was the expenditures. So we're looking at the income from the BLS for income. It's just, leaves a lot to be desired. We're looking at the income from the Census Bureau. It leaves a lot to be desired. But when it comes to expenditures, which is all that matters, the BLS is a gold standard. So I want to show you something else real quick. And again, I did this in my video not too long ago, but I think it's incredibly important. So we're going to go to the biggest one by far is right. Look, I mean, they break it down for everything. It's crazy. I love it. Right, we're going to look, property taxes, one. So here's property taxes. If you're 75 and older, your average property tax is $2,000. If you're 65 to 74, it's $2,400. If you're 45 to 54, it's $3,000. All right. Now, my man Rich from Texas just emailed me today, and he said, so check this out. Rich says he lives in Texas, just turned 65. Hold on just a second. Saw your video, Josh, on the California to Texas move, and want to let you know that I turned 65 in August, and I received a 20% property tax reduction. Good reminder for your viewers to check on property tax reductions once they turn 65. Also, gas is $1.99 in Texas versus California at $4. And I would even argue that Texas, the kilowatt hour is a hell of a lot cheaper as well. Not sure that's worth leaving the walk on the beach, but still understood. All right, so housing right here, all right? By far and away, the biggest expense. This is the percentage right there. Look at that, 35.7% it represents of income. And again, this is the BLS income, which I take some issue with, but either way, the biggest expense, 15,000, 18,000, 16,000, 21,000. You see what I'm saying? That's the biggest expense by far. It's crazy. All right. Arnie says, hey, appreciate the Christian perspective. I'm in Nebraska, the tax me state. Yeah, man. Do you have to wait? Stan says, do you have to wait 5 years to draw a new Roth? You can always take it out without touching your gains. Yeah, you can take out your principal without touching your gains anytime you want. You got to wait 5 years to touch your gains tax-free, though. Starling, my man in Hawaii, says the biggest reason I can see for moving is income versus expenses. We have a large number of local Hawaiians moving because of cost of living. I get it. Is there any states that tax Roth distribution? That's a great question. That's not that I'm aware of, Mike, but I'm sure they're thinking about it. Not many people still working after 75. No, right on, Rob. Oops. Hey, thanks, Starling. My YouTube tab is showing a mirror delay of 3 images. Oh, right there. Look at that. That's pretty funny. Look at that. Let me get out of that here. Let me get back to stop share. There we go. All right, cool. So now I'm stopping to share. Right on, Starline. Appreciate. Oops. Hold on a second. Let me make this smaller. All right. Rob says amazing, but Pablo's even more amazing, and there he is. Can you see that little nugget right there? Now, speaking of which, you want to see what your old buddy Josh likes to read? Social Security questions and answered. 135 questions answered, and we're going to go over these one by one by one. It's going to be fun. That's from the horse's mouth, Savvy Social Security Planning. So any of you guys who are interested in becoming financial advisors, horse's mouth. Anyway, it's right here, horse's mouth, horsesmouth.com. Savvy Social Security Planning, Savvy Medicare Planning, Savvy Tax Planning. They kind of took over that savvy word, which is ironic because my man Amar Shah, Savvy Wealth is his YouTube channel, I think, Savvy Wealth. Anyway, so let's keep going down. Hey, Mary, I see Mary. Okay. Thank you, Arnie. Yeah, so Mary, I completed my course. It's it'll be done this week. I promise that. I can't wait. I can't wait. Man, I just, it's like you're wondering, it's like, is it going to be enough? And I looked at it, and they're just, I mean, hell, I got. I'm looking at my other thing here. I mean, I just got, I don't know, freaking 40 videos or something like that on there. It's a labor of love. I mean, so that's all there is to it. It's a labor of love, and I love it. I think it's gonna be great. And people might not want, and that's fine. But like I said, I think I'm going to charge $250 until the first 2 months, and I'll probably raise the fee because I think it's worth it. But obviously, people don't have to think it's worth it. That's fine. I'll probably let I don't know. We'll have to think of that. I'll say that later. Rob said, when I say why men are happier, Rob says is because we die sooner. It might well be, man. But the problem is they survey women and men who are in their working careers right now. And women are by far and away sadder a lot than men. For me, I think I look at Charlotte B. My worry is more, and I was talking to a guy today, or was it yesterday? I think it was today. And we tend to be more worried about the money, the big picture stuff on money, men do. And as you get older, that starts to become less of a worry for a lot of men. Not all of them, but men, as they get older, they get more mature, they're able to, they start making some money, and they start worrying less about that, which when they're younger, they were really worried about. I know I was. The worry that women, the maternal instincts have towards children never dissipates, if that makes sense. And I was thinking about that because this guy and his lady, I forgot, they're in I think Minnesota, if memory serves. And we're just talking, and he's got all these spreadsheets, as a man is wanting to do. And I got women to do that too. It's not all inclusive, so don't throw arrows at me. But by and large, the men are more interested in the spreadsheets. That's just a fact. There's always an exception. I'm telling you, an exception is okay. That's what makes humanity so great. But I think at the end of the day, the men are more worried about the financial aspects. And when men are young and they're poor as can be, they don't have a pot to pee in, and then they see other guys who are doing pretty well in their 40s. They're like, man, they can't imagine what's going to be like to be them. They say, I don't know if that's ever going to happen to me. And it will. I don't know if it will. If you stay off drugs, don't freaking drunk drive, don't hurt people, show up at work on time, be polite. It's amazing what you can do. And be a freaking student of whatever business you choose. This is my biggest pet peeve about financial planning. All you have to do is be a nice person, and people will hire you as long as you can freaking, fog a mirror and you can smile and not come across like an ogre with snots hanging from your nose. People say, oh, he's a good guy. I hear it all the time. I like my advisor at UBS, or I like my advisor, Ed Jones. They're good guys, but I don't know if it's worth the fee. I hear this literally, time and time again. But they've been paying them, and look, man, it's because they're nice people. They trust them implicitly, and they're good. They know what, they're good people. But the problem is they're not really students of the business. They're too busy fantasy football. They're too busy. I don't know what else. They're playing golf, but they're not studying. They're not studying. They're not updating their noggins here, and that's a pet peeve of mine. And that's not good. So anyway, long story short, if you're a student of the business, whatever field you're in, and you have a know-how, people can smell it. They can sniff it off you. People ask me, how do you do these live streams? Because I've been doing this freaking live streams my whole career for 25, well, not really 20. I mean, if you go back to Vanguard 1997, was that 23 years? For 23 years, I've had people throw me thousands and thousands and thousands of questions, which I had to answer. And I'm not afraid to say, I don't know. I never have been. I don't know. But I've been talking to thousands and thousands of people. And so that's how I can do these live streams, because I have it all, not all up here for all of it, because I don't know a lot of this stuff, but I'm a student of the business. And anyway, I think with men, as they get more and more, successful in their career, they just calm down a little bit. Whereas in their younger years, they're still probably, I know me, still drinking, still full of piss and vinegar, and poor as could be, and women are more mature than men, and then men finally catch up. But then the worry that women have is towards their children. I know my wife does. She's still freaking worried about them sneezing. And Liam, we gotta call the doctor. I'm like, oh, for the love of the good Lord, Charlotte, he just sneezed because he sniffed on because he's rubbing up on old Pablo. She's not that bad. But anyway, you know how it is. The BLS report, did I put it on the show notes? I think it is. Fear the Turtle. It is awesome. I tell you, I love this stuff. It's weird. My man, Ion Fuel. Wife's been a stay-at-home mom and raised 7 kids. 7 freaking kids. 4 still at home. I'm 65 in January and still working. Nothing wrong with you, my man Ion, but who do you think worked harder, you or she? I bet I can answer that. I think we know it wasn't you. Look, man, Charlotte sacrificed her whole damn career for this family of mine. The first, basically 20 years when she stayed home to raise the Rugrats, I could not have done that. No way, no how. Now that the Rugrats they can, freaking get themselves dressed, all that stuff. I don't need to change diapers anymore. That's when I get that. It's awesome. So now Charlotte can go to work after busting her hump, raising the kids, changing diapers, doing all this. And now that the kids are self-sufficient, she goes to work and I get to come home and just chill like this. Yeah, life is good. It ain't fair, man. It ain't fair. But hey, she didn't have to do it. But it's not fair. But hey, I like it. Mike C says his retirement income is half what he made while working. He's doing fine. I think that's Mike. I think that's part and parcel for the vast majority of people. I really, really do. Tom, going back to that guy, here's how the formula not to pay a tax on 100,000. His point was by collecting income from long-term capital gains and qualified dividends with your married filing jointly standard deduction, nothing else you can earn. Oh yeah, no, I get that, Tom, but he said as long as you keep it under the standard deduction. But if you have $50,000 of long-term capital gains and $50,000 of ordinary income, you're still not going to pay anything on those capital gains on those long-term capital gains or qualified dividends. So I'm not sure why he said explicitly, as long as you don't have income above and beyond the standard deduction. I don't get that. But anyway, I get where he was going. It didn't make sense to me. Let's take a look at it. My man Starling says, do a video on the BLS webpage. Yeah, let's take a look. Oh, man. All right, so BLS, I think it's, BLS.gov. Let's take a look, shall we? And then we'll go to, all right, so BLS.gov. Let's see what this webpage, oh, man. Starling, you opened up a friggin' can of worms here. There is so much stuff on this webpage. Bureau of Labor Statistics. Trump, he should nominate me to be the head of BLS. I would be freaking, man. I would be out there every day talking to some group in Alaska to Hawaii to freaking, I don't know, Caribou, Maine, all the way down to, I don't even know, South Padre Island, just saying, look, here's our data. You're going to be fine. Oh, interesting. In 2017 to 18, 16% of the U.S. population, or 40 million people, provided unpaid elderly care. Why would that be of interest? Because we've all been told that nursing home care is going to be the biggest expense. And yet, look at that, 40 million people provided unpaid elder care. No nursing home. This is the way it used to be. You used to age in place with your family. It's going back to that. And I mean, is that a bad thing? Is that a bad thing with a family unit? You know, it used to be you had a bunch of kids, they stayed in your house and blah, blah, blah. You know, the old, Irish Catholic family or Italian family or something like that. Those days are gone now, but now it's the other way. Now it's coming downstream that the folks are staying with you like it used to be. You know, mom and dad would get old and, kids would take over the house. Maria would have mom and dad in the home because they got old. The dad would die off and grandma would be there making the freaking Italian food, which I would literally kill for. And then the kids come up and that's just a family unit. That's not a bad thing, man. It's not a bad thing for families to be together again in multiple generations. But anyway, so 40.4 million people provide elder care, unpaid care. And that lady, remember I was telling you about California, who was thinking about moving to Texas, but she liked to walk on the beach. She's taking care of her mom. She's doing it for free. I'd say about a third of the people I talk to as clients are taking care of mom. Some dad, vast majority of mom. They're doing it for free. In fact, I had a guy in Virginia, and just his wife was, I think, Cuban, if memory serves. And I think the story is incredible. Anyway, long story short, she stayed home to sacrifice her career to take care of his mom, who had dementia, didn't know who she was from Adam. And what a great woman. I mean, just what a freaking awesome lady. Says, I'm going to sacrifice my career to raise the kids, but also take care of your mom, Joey, whatever the guy's name was. And that's a good thing. Again, people are naturally good. All right. I find this so much stuff on regional homepage. Let's look at the good state of Georgia here. I mean, you can look up your stuff. Oh man, how could you not love this stuff, man? Inflation prices. I saw where I see average energy prices right there. This is where we went today to go play some tennis match, and some spoiled brats did not tell my son good game after he smoked them. All right, so here we go. Average price for gasoline in my area. Atlanta, look at that, $2.50 the kilowatt hour, 14 cents per kilowatt hour. Atlanta, the 14.5 cents per kilowatt hour Atlanta households paid for electricity in September of 2019 was 4.3% more than the nationwide average. Freaking rat finks. Swanee freaking electric co-op. I don't think that's what I'm paying on average. 14 cents per kilowatt hour. I'm not paying that. No way, no how. I'm not sure what that's about. Average price for natural gas is higher here than, this man, Starling, why'd you tell me to do this? Now I get to see all kinds of videos I can be doing, comparing and contrasting. Look at that. Average prices for pipe gas, I'm presuming this natural gas, is much higher in Atlanta than it is the rest of the states. Now, isn't that interesting? Yeah, we're not paying. I never paid 12 cents kilowatt hour. I don't know what that's about. That is odd to me. I don't get that. That's weird. Let me go back. I want to see. Let's go look at the great state of Massachusetts, shall we? Because I want to see something about their kilowatt hours. Hold on a second. Let's go to Mass. Okay, let's look at last January for their average energy prices right here. Let's take a look at Massachusetts. We're going to look, gasoline's higher. Look at that. Yep. Electricity significantly higher. You can't be. Are you paying? So Rob, are you paying 22 cents for a kilowatt hour in the Worcester? No way, man. That seems high. Let's see what it did. Look at that, man. That's nuts. Hold on just a second. So kilowatt hour in February and January last year in Massachusetts, 23 natural. They don't show a table for natural gas. Wait, yes they do. Right there. Look at that. See that? Massachusetts, $1.70 per therm for gas. I'm assuming this is natural gas. Look at that. That's because Andrew Cuomo shut down the pipelines in New York. And so Massachusetts could not get natural gas sent to them and when it's freezing last February. These freaking scumbags, man. I tell you, Andrew Cuomo, he's got the money from his dad, Mario, to live high in the hog. But those freaking working people in Massachusetts don't, and they got skunked when it comes to freaking that. That just ticks me off, man. So that just that let me just look at. Hold on a second. Let's just look at one other thing. You know, I got to look at Maine because Quebec has a natural gas pipeline coming down from Quebec. Oh, okay. They don't say it. All right, never mind. All right. So that's let's stop share. We'll come back to this here. That was fantastic. That was fantastic. I can all right. Oh yeah. Roy says I should switch screen view, hard to see whiteboard. Right on, Roy. Good point. Any recommendations on where to look for ratings or reviews on stocks and ETFs? No, they're just Morningstar. I mean, I just like Vanguard ETFs. I don't really mess with stocks individually, Robert. But for ETFs, I just like Vanguard because they're all going to be highly rated because their fees are low for sure. Morningstar is good on mutual funds. I did a blog post on why you should use Morningstar ratings for mutual funds, but you didn't ask about mutual funds, so I'm not sure if you're looking at something specific more than that. But ETFs, go with Vanguard. You can't go wrong there. Stocks, I don't play with it, so I don't mess with it. Sorry. Rebecca says, thanks for all you do. Right on, Rebecca. Bernard Tuff says, is he the only one that can't hear anything? I'm hoping so, Bernard. I'm hoping so. My friend JD is saying to sign on a lump sum for his monthly pension on several hundred thousands, should you consider how much the lump sum adds to your deferred money as a factor from a tax RMD? All right, that's a good question. So let me think on this for a second. Oops. All right, so the lumps, you got a $400,000 in an IRA, in a 401k, and you're considering a lump sum versus to roll over to an IRA versus a annuity, a pension. The two things going on here is that, and actually this one's a little bit too, well, maybe it's not so big. I was cleaning out the office here, and this is my old son's whiteboard. It's bigger than my other one. Let me know what you guys like better. Is this one or this one? This is my old one. This one's bigger. So let me know which one you guys like better. And I also found some brand spanking new. I found these dry erase markers, which is pretty cool. All right. So Jill says lump sum. All right. So let's just say you got $300,000 and you're due a lump sum and you're going to get 6% distribution yield, just 6 for simplicity. That means you're going to get $18,000 a year taxes from year 1 to year 30, 18,000. All right, so we know what's going to happen here. Every single year, you're going to get 18,000 bucks. Every single year, that $18,000 is going to be, it'll be subject to ordinary income tax, Joe. Now, if you did it as an RMD instead, you don't need to take 18,000 out. You'd only need to take 300,000 times divide by 27.4. So the first year, you'd only have to take $10,940 out. So but what happens is that will get progressively more more and more and more as you get older. So it kind of like goes like this. So from a tax perspective, here is the RMDs is low, but it grows higher and higher and higher as you get older. And here's the pension. So this is the lump sum with the RMDs. And here's the pension. It's just as flat. It'll even itself out, other than the fact that as you know, if the RMDs get so high, it puts you at a higher Medicare premium and whatnot, or to be perfectly honest with you, or that pension, you know, if you don't do a lump sum, but you do a pension, that $18,000 would discourages you from doing Roth conversions. That's the thing. I deal with a lot of people who got nice pensions, and we got no ability to do any Roth conversions. because the pension ate up all their standard deductions. And so if we start doing Roth conversions, it doesn't make sense. I did a video on that the other day. I can't help this guy for that exact reason. The pension, I don't think he had a pension, but the pension, it will prevent you from being able to do a lot of tax planning for Roth conversions. At the end of the day, it's going to be pretty much a wash when all things are said and done. But you could think that, though. That's a good point, though. You could say, well, if I do this as a lump sum and I don't take the money out until 70, it gives me the ability to do Roth conversions. Lots of different things you could look at for sure. So I think you would have to figure that out for sure. Yeah, Miles was lucky didn't kill him with a crown of the head. I could agree. I couldn't agree more. All right, so JD, my financial advisor tried to tell me management and fund fees should not matter as it's net gain or effective rate that matters. Did not. The financial advisor tried to tell me management fees don't matter as it's the net gain that matters. So basically saying, see, you're not allowed to say that. So as long as I'm making you money more than what you could make in an index fund, it shouldn't matter. Inherently, that sounds good. But what if you're losing money? You're going to pay that money back there, guy, because you lost money. Well, I didn't lose as much as the market. You still freaking lost money. I want to go to this other real quick. Someone has sent me this. Yeah, watch this. All right, I'm going to share this other article with you here. Hold on just a second. This run right here, someone sent to me the other day. This actually ticks me off. This is Stansberry Research. What's his name? Porter Stan. Yeah, right, that guy. Anyway, I want to show you something. How to do what the finance professor says can't be done. In today's essay, I'd like to show you an investment strategy that's so simple and so effective, we call it the magic portfolio. It's a way to guarantee you'll beat the market. I'm stunned to hear this. It's a way to guarantee you'll beat the market. Let me repeat, with this strategy, it's essentially impossible for you not to achieve substantially better results than simply buying an index fund. And by substantially better, I mean double, triple, or quadruple the market's return. What the hell is that? You can't say that stuff, man, because there's no evidence. Anyway, you all can read. I'll put that in the show notes. I'm gonna put this in the show notes. Hold on a second. Oh, I love my new thing here with Zoom. Zoom's awesome. All right, so let me go back. There we go. Sweet. All right, let me get this guy back up. Oops, I gotta get the comments up there. Hold on a second. Where are they? All right, where the comments go? Hold on just a right there. I gotta pop that out. Pop out. There we go. Put that over there. All right, cool. Anyway, you can't say you guarantee that. That's freaking insane. How does that guy get away with that? How does that guy get away with that? And yet, hey, right on, CJ. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, man. Right on. I don't get how he gets away with saying that stuff, man. It's you can't say that. If you're a licensed guy, if I would have said that, I would have lost my license. Let's put it that way. And I don't have my license anymore because I don't want to be part of that whole shenanigans. But you can't say that. All right. Fear of the Turtle says, if an advisor can show you that beating certain indexes each year over a 5 to 8 year period, then I wouldn't mind the additional hit, but reality shows they can't. Roy says, I don't work for the media, but I might be qualified now. Can't remember what that's in reference to. Sorry, man. Kansas Flatlander. That sounds like a good bluegrass band. The Kansas Flatlanders. Man, you gotta play some freaking fiddle and banjo and mandolin and accordion. Yeah. All right, so my man Kansas says he's retired, $800,000 in IRA, age 67, wife is 63. Is it worth going to 22% from 12 for 3 years before taking Social Security to lower my tax later and leave more tax-free for heirs can pay tax out of the bank? I think, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's my thing. I mean, you got it now. That's a big jump. That's a 60% income increase income tax increase, my man, Kansas. But I think so. I think at the end of the day, you're going to take advantage if you're married, filing jointly tax status, and you're going to kick the bucket for she. And so you want to leave her as tax-friendly state as possible. And that will be with Roth IRAs, because she won't be in the 22% tax bracket. She'll be in a minimum of a 25 because the Trump tax bill sunsets. And then on top of that, she'll have higher Medicare, the whole thing I talk about all the time. So if you don't do that, you're just putting off what she will have pain to pay later on for sure. Angelo, hey, thanks again, Starling. Rob, thanks for your money, much obliged. Okay, Angelo says 3 more weeks till he retires. Right on. Next year, is it better to map out my 24% married? There you go. Right on. Tax bracket with Roth conversions. I'm worried about widow's tax trap. Puts her at 30. Yeah, right on. There you go. So go up, and you guys are perfect. So Kansas and Flatlander and Angelo A. Exact same question. Exact same question. So the question again is, should he worry about going into a 24% tax bracket, where Kansas was worried about going into a 22% tax bracket because he's worried about the widow's tax trap, which puts his better half at 32% on top of the Medicare premiums and all that stuff, on top of what happens to your kids when you leave them the money. Because don't forget, if we looked at the BLS numbers, if you die at 75, your kids are probably in their primo earning years between 55 and 64, or I should say 45 to 54, and they're making the buku bucks. That's just French. Us Cajuns, we say buku, it means a lot in French. So they're making the buku bucks, and then they get hit with huge taxes on your IRAs that you left to them because of the Secure Act, which says they got to take those IRAs that their non-spouse beneficiaries, they got to exhaust them within 5 and 10 years. Yes, the answer is unequivocally, Angela. You're hitting on the head. Pay the 24% to avoid her paying the 32% at the minimum. Don't forget, tax rates aren't going lower. It does not happen. Missed the beginning. Any particular topic tonight? We just were talking about the Pats and why they're not going to win the Super Bowl. CJ in New York, 10-5 taxes are killing us. In New York, 10-5 taxes. I'm not sure what that is. Fear says, hope everyone has a great Thanksgiving. Man, I am going to be chowing like you wouldn't believe. Rob says his wife will be much happier after he buys the farm. Might need to see some counseling there, brother man. Maybe she's trying to get a Wista. Danielle Emberley, haven't seen her, so welcome aboard. I think is a lady. I find that I often debate about allocation after a Roth conversion where I've sold taxable account equities to pay the taxes. I almost view those taxes paid as part of the allocation. No, I agree. Oh yeah, Angela, right. You're gonna retire. I saw that in 3 weeks. Right on, dude. Yay, freaking awesome. Awesome, brother. Happy for you, man. Report back how that goes. I almost view those paid taxes as part of the allocation. Yeah, I agree with that, Danielle. I mean, if it's coming out of the account, it's part of the allocation without question. Marie asked, I said the course is for people who are 5 years away. I'm 5 to 9 years away. Is it still a course for me? Yeah, absolutely. Single and under 500K, I absolutely think so, because maybe you don't need to be 5 years away or 9 years away. I don't know, but yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, look, I have an incentive to encourage you to pay, Marie, pay the big bucks. But if retirement is on your mind, I don't want to say it's only for these people. I mean, hell, if retirement is something you're thinking about, you know, buy the course. And because the point that I want to show people, even if they're in their 30s, that look, everything you've been taught about retirement is wrong. I mean, it's just this freaking nuts. And you say, okay, if everything I've been taught about retirement is wrong, what is right? And that's what I show you in the thing, is that this is how you should be looking at retirement from my perspective. Doesn't mean you shouldn't listen to Porter Stansberry and freaking Susie Orman and whoever else the guys are. What's that guy's name? Clark Howard. I mean, you can listen to all those other people. I don't care. More information is better than less. But this is the anti-fear mongering channel. And if you want to engage in what I think is the correct think, as opposed as the orthodox think, then I think the thing would be for you for sure. Women worry about bed sheets. Phil from Indiana watching as always. Right on, big man. Right on. Mark says, without entering Roth conversion distributions manually, seems as though it automatically calculate optimal. Well, entering Roth conversions distributions manually. It seems like Right Capital will automatically calculate optimal amounts via tax distributions details tab. Yeah. I don't know, because what Right Capital will do will default to paying the taxes from your taxable accounts first. You can do it, we can change it where it'll take it proportionally from taxable, tax-free, and tax deferred. That's stupid. So the only option will be it comes from taxable accounts first. Now there's a workaround where you can create another income source where you're just pulling money from your regular IRAs and not converting those. But the point is, it's not, in my opinion, if you're allowing Right Capital to do it automatically, it's not going to be optimal simply because it's taking it from taxable accounts first and then tax deferred and then Roth. And I want to come from taxable accounts second. I want to come from tax deferred accounts first, if that makes sense. So in my opinion, it's not optimal. You would want to do it manually, in my opinion. Michael says, thanks, you're all due for helping others. Hey, Michael, it's freaking awesome. And trust me, I'm getting paid. I mean, you all being here pays me money on this. I mean, hell, this is a big month for YouTube. I'm making, like I made last month on this guy right here. So y'all being here is you're helping me because you're literally putting money in my pocket, even if you don't hire me, even if you don't do anything. But like last month, I made, 1 second. The month of October, I made $2,500 on YouTube, $2,500 in October. So I've pretty much been averaging that. So that's 30,000 a year, man, from doing this. How do you not do it? It's freaking awesome. And I mean, and what happens around Thanksgiving is that your revenue goes up, I'll bet, because more and more advertisers are spending. And then going back to YouTube, though, this is the whole point what I've been saying about if you're going to do a YouTube channel, do it now. Because the simple facts are that YouTube is in it to make money. And look, that's capitalism, man. And if they're not going to give the way to the store to people who aren't making the money, they're not going to allow you to, upload to their server farm if you're not getting videos that are being watched that they can sell advertisements on. And I don't know if my channel is making, $2,500 a month. I don't know what that means in the overall scheme of things for YouTube, but they're making about $1,500. I'm making $2,500. So for YouTube, they're collecting 18,000 off all of us on here by me and you all being here by the ads that you watch. I would think that's worth YouTube to keep me on their server. But if you're not making any money for them and they're like a liability because of whatever the politically correct say, oh my goodness, that guy Josh said that women like staying at home. Oh no, and they're gonna come after me. Oh, and I'm so triggered. That might be a bridge too far for YouTube. So YouTube says, look, we gotta make money. Where they're losing money. They're literally, the server farms for these guys are huge and they're not cheap and they're not electricity free. Takes a lot of electricity. Where does that electricity come? Well, a lot, like my man John C says in Oregon, comes from hydro farms for sure, which makes sense. So that's renewable, but there's only so many hydro farms you can get out there. I mean, literally, it's not unlimited amount of hydro. That's why there's not. I mean, hydro, while it's great, is not in the gauge of where we're going for electricity or even energy consumption because it's limited for sure. Anyway, so if you're going to get on YouTube, get on it and start making some money. And the way you do that is you upload quality content that people are going to want to watch. And what that means is don't be freaking boring. And this is what I was telling my man Amar. He wanted to go because I love Amar. He's a good guy. I said, look, you got to always remember two things. People don't want some stuffed shirt. I mean, at least some people, I get that, I don't care, but not me. If I see a stuffed shirt on there, I'm going to jump off a bridge head first after I slit my wrist in a freaking pool full of starving great white sharks because it bores the hell out of me. And I don't want to be bored. If I want to be bored, I'll go watch soccer and that might make me also want to jump off a bridge after I slit my wrist into a pool of starving great white sharks because soccer is incredibly boring. at the end, let's admit it, soccer's boring. Can we just admit that for once and for all? Oh, actually, football's getting that way too. Oh, how many flags they throw. So if you got to be entertaining, and that doesn't mean you have to be all, crisp and, editing. And look, man, I'm literally sitting here showing you that guy right there. You see him? I don't edit. I don't have the time or the patience or desire to edit. I don't do any of that. I just say what's on my mind. And sometimes I'll make a mistake and people correct me and I'll say, oh, I should have said that. I've had to delete a couple of videos where it came across not in ways I wanted. Like I did one on the fire movement, and my man Alberto on here said, hey, you didn't say it like this, but I was reading between the lines and it came across the way I didn't intend it. So I just deleted that because that's not the impression I want to leave. But you just gotta be you, but you gotta be you with something to say. And that means you got to find, a thing that interests you to make you keep going back to say that stuff. And for me, I read this stuff all the time. I've been reading this stuff all the time. I've been wanting to say stuff all the time. And it's like politics, man. It never stops. But this is important. Politics is silly, but unfortunately, politics is becoming more and more important in our lives. But this I enjoy, and because it is always forever changing. And so anyway, just FYI. No, not the BLS. Don't get John started. Josh is the man. Tell my wife she disagrees, if you know what I'm saying. That was pretty funny. That was pretty funny. If my wife heard me say that, she would take this finger and she would punch me. My man Rob in Worcester says his latest bill had 13.9 cents per kilowatt hours. Yeah, like Massachusetts electricity is expensive. No need to look at the charts. Man, it doesn't have to be like that. That's what it doesn't have to be. That's so freaking frustrating. The crazy thing is the poor people. So the Republicans are dominated by middle class. The Democrats are dominated by poor and rich people. And I'm just sitting there thinking, why do the poor people keep voting these Democrats in who are anti-fossil fuels? I just don't get it. They're paying out the butt for electricity prices. And I don't understand. They don't, they're paying for cigarette taxes. And we know the people who smoke are generally poor. They're paying out the wazoo for higher electricity. It's just this. I just don't get it. I don't understand. It's nuts to me. I mean, Massachusetts, the rich people, the poor people dominate, I guess, the middle class. And so you got a liberal legislature and they don't like natural gas. It's, Jude says, would I suggest dollar cost averaging in the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund? They might close as investors start fleeing to safety. I'm never a big fan of. Here's the way I look at it, Jude. If you got the market goes up more than it goes down. All right, the ups are permanent, the downs are temporary. Historically, that doesn't mean it'll always happen. Just historically, the market goes up, it pulls back, it goes up, it pulls back. But you see where it's. And I just say, look, unless you need the money, just put it all in and be done with it. That's the way I look at it. But, you got to think Murphy's Law. If you would have done that in October of 2007, January of 2000, you're in a world of hurt. But the likelihood of that happening is small enough to make it worth the risk, in my opinion. But if you need the money 2 years from now in order to pay down the mortgage, dollar cost average. But for me, I just say I dump it all in and be done with it. So when I put my money into VTV, it took me about 2 to 3 months to get off the schneid to finally do that. And I kept thinking, then I finally did it. I don't hardly pay any attention anymore. I just put it in and just be done with it. The reason for that is because I got enough income where I don't need that money anymore. And when I first was in this business a year ago in 2018, I didn't know I'd be as successful as I am now. And so because of that, I was very, very worried about that money I had, that I did not want to lose 25% of that money. And that would be thousands and thousands of dollars. And I just couldn't afford losing that. So if I don't need the money because I have a good income stream now, then I'm much, much more willing to take the risk. If I need the money, for future expenses, likely in the next 3 to 4 years, then dollar cost averaging makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I saw someone said I am smarter, and that's what I want to hear, because I like hearing that you're smarter than me, and I'm not dumb, says Keith Burchett. I am smarter than Keith, and he is not dumb, which inherently means if Keith is not dumb and I am smarter than Keith, logic says I am not dumb, right? King County, Washington, dude. Freaking Washington, a lot of hydro up there for sure. Well, Washington has lots of hydro. Washington has lots of hydro, and thus they're able to be freaking green. Yeah, so 9 cents for the first 580 kilowatt hours. Yeah, I think that's kind of like me too, man. I got my utility bill over here someplace. Mike, I think that's like us too. I know it's like us. Yeah, I guess I packed it. Oh, by the way, someone had asked me, this is the article. If I don't think you can find it anymore. This is the article that changed everything for me, by Rob Keeler. To convert or not to convert, that is the question. Anything by this guy about Roth IRAs, Rob Keeler, get it? The dude is just freaking. I don't think you can find this article anymore, because this is 2007, and a lot has changed since then. But if you can find anything you can find by Rob Keeler, you need to find it. This is pretty interesting. A historical perspective on electric utility regulation. That's been sitting there in my to-do reading. Here, for all those who think I'm transphobic, here's Deirdre McCloskey, who's a woman who used to be a man, and she transitioned. And look, I am not anti-trans. I don't care, but I don't think it's not a normal function. Let's just. I'm sorry to say, it's not normal. It's not normal to transition from a man to a woman. It's just not. Does that mean we should throw freaking arrows at her and hang her up? No, let her be what she wants to be. I don't care. Does that mean they should be able to play women's sports? Hell no. It's freaking nuts, dude. It's nuts. It's dangerous for women, by the way. And I am a feminist, that I want to see women participate in women's sports without the risk of a man who's signing up as a woman, like the South Park episode, the recent South Park episode with Randy. Yeah, not Randy, his dad, but you know what I'm talking about. The freaking the WWF guy. I forgot his name. Anyway, so here's bourgeois equality, how ideas, not capital, transform the world. Deirdre McCloskey from the University of Chicago is a fantastic economist. I actually asked her if she'd be on my podcast, because I'd like to understand what goes into someone who feels a need to transition. I don't know what it's like. She never got back to me. I would not that I just look, she's busy. I got that. But there's a guy, Neil Caputo, who used to sing for the band Life of Agony, or still does. But he's no longer Neil. He's Millie or something like that. I forgot what he changed his name to, but he transitioned, and is actually kind of funny, because I watched on YouTube, like when they played their show when she came out as a woman for the first time, and I was literally, I'm not going to like this. And in Life of Agony, was old metalish kind of hardcore band from Long Island, I think, and they were still badass, and she was still badass, and again, that got me thinking, I don't know. I don't know what I think about. I just don't like the idea if a man can go into a girl's bathroom and say, I'm transitioning, and he can, that's wrong. They shouldn't allow that. And then they shouldn't play sports. Other than that, do whatever the hell you want to do. The government should pay for that stuff. That's for damn sure. But anyway, it was interesting, because what goes into someone's head that says, I want to become a woman and I'm a man? I mean, I don't know that. I don't know why that happens. And is it a chemical thing? Is it something? So I talked to a lady, and she's gay, and she was one of my first clients I had. And I don't know, I haven't seen her on the video for a while, so I probably did something to piss her off. But, she emailed me. She goes, I want to hire you, but I just want you to know I'm gay. So I don't give a crap. I mean, my God, man. Well, are you saying that because I'm Christian? You're holding me? You're being prejudiced towards me? And anyway, long story, I just asked her. I said, when did you know you were gay? She goes, well, I knew I never liked boys. I didn't know I was gay, but I knew I never liked boys. This is literally the way she was born. And I don't know. And like I to share with you before, my mom, was a bookkeeper in the early 80s in Portland, Maine of a restaurant that was serving a gay clientele. And that was even in Maine. Gays couldn't walk the street of Oldport back then without getting bashed. And, AIDS was ramping, killing these guys left and right. And they didn't care. They still they still had all the, let's just put it this way. They weren't hesitant to share relations, if that makes sense. And even though the AIDS, they didn't care. But it was interesting because it wasn't, maybe some was a choice, I don't know. But a lot of these people are just born that way, and I don't know why that is. I don't know why. I've never been like that. I think, but I just think it's nasty. The idea of a man, to find a man attractive, that's disgusting. Because I'm a man. I just don't. If you only knew how nasty men were, because I am one. I was in the army with one. I would play football with them. I wrestled them. Just a nasty group of people. How could you find that attractive? Especially when you see a woman and say, man. And I look at my wife. She's freaking. Man, in terms of why would anyone look at me and say, oh, that guy's attractive compared to her? It's like, man, even as a woman, I'd be wanting to be with my wife as opposed to me because she's so much prettier. But anyway, it's just the way people are. It's nuts. I don't know why I got off that tangent. I think a lot of people, they want to put you in this little box and say, oh, you like Trump, you must be this, or you're Chris, you must be that, or you're black, you must be that, or whatever. And I just wish it wasn't like that, but be it as it may. Be it as it may. All right. Net gain, Mary, they hide the fees. Yeah. That's, you just say, what are the fees? And would my net gain have been higher sans fees? Sans, that's without. I already used buku and sans. Man, we're bringing the multicultural language here. Harry just moved to an older house. First thing I did was change out old incandescent bulbs for LEDs. Yep, man, right on, Harry. Huge thing. I'm saving about $30 a month for my LEDs, just what I have out in the front, door and over by the garage. Happy Thanksgiving. You got it. No show notes on live stream. Oh, it's not showing up yet, Rick. Okay, gotcha. Right on. Okay, so Rick says it will show up later, but there's no comments on the live stream. Okay, right on. What's your thoughts on folks investing in options? I have a buddy who's saying he's making 20% on his money all the time. I don't see how that's possible. If it was, wouldn't more do it? Yes, exactly. Jack, look, I got hammered in options. I got a video on that. I thought I was so smart, and I was so smart that I lost money. And I took it on the chin. Now, this is back in 1999 when I was at Schwab on the trading desk at Schwab, so I thought I was so smart. Selling covered calls, I got no qualm with. You're not making 20% of your money. I mean, if he were making 20% of his money for 10 years, what the rate of, I don't even know what that would be. That'd be worth a hell of a lot of money. Let's just put it that way. It's just silly. I mean, think about it. How could this one guy, your buddy, be making 20% on his money when Warren Buffett isn't making 20% on his money? No one's making 20% on their money. And that's going back to the article I shared with you, Porter Stansberry. It's just, the whole thing is nuts. I mean, the market is full of people that are more educated than your friend. We have long-term capital management, LTCM, and they were literally the smartest guys in town. Just ask them. PhDs, geneticists, they had scientists, they had statisticians, and they got skunked because what was not probable to happen happened, and it took them down and almost took the whole financial industry with them. It's crazy. And yet they can't do it. Your guys are doing it. So it's nuts. I do think the Secure Act will pass the Senate, and I bet Trumpster signs it. Yep, I do think so. So I think lump sum pension decision almost doubled my 401k amount versus a 25 annual pension. Almost double my 401k. I need the 25k prior to Social Security plus enough of my 401k that RMDs won't. Okay. I think a lump sum pension. Lump sum would almost double my 401k amount versus a 25 annual pension. So it sounds like what you're saying is that if you did the pension, you get Oh, okay. So she has like $200,000 in a 401k. I get what she's saying. If she was to take the lump sum and roll it to her 401k or IRA, it'd be worth $400,000. Okay, I gotcha. I need the 25k prior to Social Security plus enough of my 401k that RMDs won't hurt much later, but with lump sum too. Yeah, I'm kind of confused by that. I think at the end of the day, if you need the money though, the pension won't cover it, then you're gonna have to do the lump sum, right? Because if you need uh, more than what your pension is going to provide, um, then you're stuck. It would seem to me because you need more than what you're going to get while you're waiting for Social Security to kick in. Vinyl Earthlink. I bet Vinyl Earthlink has a lot of LPs, right? In 7 inches in LPs, because Vinyl Earthlink doesn't sound like a hippie. Listen to old freaking CCR albums on LP. I wish I had my records, man. Ugh. I had hundreds of them. Had to sell them to hire an attorney when I was still back in my drinking days. Oh, jeez Louise. All right, so Chris and Megan from Spokane, do you need to be retired to perform both Roth conversions from your employer-sponsored pre-tax 457? I think if they allow you, it's really depending on your employer. So remember, employer-sponsored plans are always more stringent or can be more stringent than IRS rules allow. So it's whatever your employer allows. If retirement is wrong, I don't want to be right. If loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right. Exactly. Dave says here, but stay in the background, listening and learning. You got Dave, right on. So Dave and Spectre are not adding to the discussion. You do not need to be retired, but you cannot work for that employer to move 457 to a Roth. Okay, there you go, Lauren. I didn't know that. You don't need to be retired, but you can't work for that employer to move the 457 to a Roth. Okay, I did not know that. Good job, Roth. Bruce. Bruce says he thinks they should call it Iceland up here tonight instead of New York. Are they getting cold up there? Yeah, man. The cities, the mill rate for property tax can be 70 or 80. They pay a lot of property tax too. 100% right. Make sure you're doing homestead exemption. I tell you, I did my homestead exemption in Fulton County. I saved, I can't remember how much I saved, but I think maybe like $1,000 to $2,000, man. Marinette, Wisconsin. Thanks for all you do. I'm also learning from you, and I wish you a happy Thanksgiving time. Cannot wait to watch Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. I love Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. I can't wait to eat the turkey. My daughter has a friend from Georgia Tech who I don't think is American, actually. I want to say she's from Dubai, if memory serves. Going to be spending the weekend with us here for Thanksgiving. So we're going to show them a good old Irish Catholic Thanksgiving. What does that mean? Nothing. We'll probably listen to Pogues. We don't drink beer. And we're not going to eat any, I don't even know what Irish people eat. No, that's German. Sauerkraut, potatoes. We'll eat some potatoes. We'll say some Irish Catholic prayers, listen to the Pogues, I imagine. Maybe listen to some tossers and just have Pablo out here and run around like chickens with their head cut off, eat, watch Charlie Brown. And who the Cowboys? I don't know. I think the Lions are playing the Bears, if memory serves. I'm not sure the Cowboys. An increase of 100 basis points or 1 full percent would send the market into a tailspin. Well, they say don't fight the Fed. Rule number 1, the Fed is raising, don't fight. But the Fed has raised, and this year we have a 25% increase in the stock market. So rules are meant to be broken, I think. Can I do a video, ag editor or ag editor? Hey man, ag editor sounds like agricultural, which I always am interested in. Can I do a video on tax planning for high net worth individuals with $3 million in liquid retirement savings assets, $200,000 spending need, 1.5 is in an IRA, a 401k, 1.5 is in a brokerage. Liquid retirement savings. Okay, so 3 million on 200,000. I need my trusty calculator just to get a gauge. So 200,000 divided by 3 million. Was that 6%? That's a 6.6% distribution rate. And I would imagine you're probably getting the highest Social Security, and we assume you're married as well. They don't do videos like that because we're not a very big audience, and they think we're smart. We can figure it out ourselves. I've done videos on, I think with Roth conversions when you have millions. I've done a couple of videos on that, sure. I can retire in 2 years as a civilian sheepdog, 3842. I can retire in 2 years at 52, receive a $3,000 a month pension, have no debt whatsoever, and currently have 185,000 investments. All right, so here's my man, civilian sheepdog. He can retire in I'm gonna ask you guys, what is wrong with this question? He has $100,000, $185,000 in investments. He has no debt. He's going to have a pension of $3,000 a month. Is retirement doable? I'll throw it out to the audience to say there's a big issue we're missing here. Huge. Vinyl Earth Inc. has 4,000 records, mostly classical. That's why he's worth millions, because he's a classical musical lover. Get it? Because if you're classical music, it makes you a thinker. Remember, Zell Miller, I think, was the governor in Georgia here, who Rush Limbaugh used to make fun of because he wanted to have women give a free classical CD as they're having newborns. I think it was Zell Miller, and I'm a big fan of Zell Miller. My daughter's on the Zell Miller Scholarship at Georgia Tech as we speak. So, good evening from Northern Maine, Edward Hood. I hope you and your family have a happy Thanksgiving. The video on gloomy states was interesting, as always, interested in overall happiness and retirement. You know? Well, the funny thing about happiness and retirement is there for the taking. You just make yourself happy. That's one of the things I've learned. Not much that I learned from my dad, but that's one of the things I learned is that you control your mood. You want to be happy? It's only up to you to be happy. You can't rely on old Charlotte. You can't rely on Trump. You can't rely on Pablo. Is you. You're going to be happy? I choose to be happy, or I choose not to be. But remember, this is what my dad told me. This is when I was like 13 years old. You know, it's okay to be sad. There's happy and there's sad. There's both. That's the wonderful thing of being a human being, is that you have both sides of the equation, which is why God gives us free will, because people say God, and C.S. Lewis talks about this all the time. Well, I mean, they got to offset each other. You're going to be happy, that's great, but you're also going to have sometimes be sad. If you only had one or the other, you'd be a robot, and God didn't want robots. He wants human beings to have a personal relationship with, who love him, and that's I think that's pretty good. I know a retired golf pro who day trades E-mini futures. Oh, sounds painful to me. Josh, I have a big 401k, almost 600,000 plus a 25 pension for life. Another 300k Roth, but I have 10 years of Social Security. If I take the 25-year pension and a similar amount for my 401k, my RMDs won't be an issue. It's freaking awesome. That's absolutely fantastic. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Trying to decide if lump sum would see. I don't get the lump sum thing. I mean, if you're just rolling it to an IRA, if that make the tax situation worse or better, I just don't understand what you're saying, because you don't have to lump sum it and pay taxes out the gate. You don't want to lump sum it and pay taxes out the gate. Just lump sum it to an IRA. I mean, if you already have the 25k pension for life, are you saying you get a 25k pension on $600,000? Well, that's only 4.16%. I'd take the lump sum then. But when I say lump sum, I'm saying roll it to an IRA, not just take it in cash. So if it's 25 pension on a $600,000, and you got to choose, you want the $600,000 or the 25k pension? Hell, in that case, I'm taking the freaking $600,000, but I'm rolling it to an IRA. I'm not just taking it out and paying. I mean, hell, you'd be paying 35% right out the gate. Don't do that. All right. Yeah, right. The Fed did cut. That's right. The Fed was cutting this year. Were they raised last year? I can't remember. I can't get. I literally. All right. So we sold our boomer house in 2018, living in Washington State. Do we not have an? Do we? We sold our boomer house in 18, where in Washington State, we do not have enough equity to purchase another with cash. Would you suggest buying with a reverse mortgage? Yeah, I suggest looking into it, Jude. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know your whole situation, so I can't say, yes, you should do it. I don't know. But why would you not consider it for sure? Oh, so Vinyl Earth Inc. is saying he thinks the market is up because of, all right. I mean, this, okay. The market is up because the Fed is cutting. I don't know. I mean, what can you say about that? I don't know. So if the Fed raises, that means the market goes down inherently? I don't think so. Earnings drive everything, my friends. Earnings. People say, well, stock buybacks. Okay. Well, what does stock buybacks do? It comes from earnings, does it not? Are they using debt to finance stock buybacks? I don't know. I literally, man, I don't pay that much attention. I just say, what are the earnings projections going forward? What's the dividend yield? Are the earnings projections going forward reasonable? 5 to 5.5%? Yes. And that answer is unequivocally yes. Earnings for the last 2 years on growth stocks were 17%, something like that, 15 to 17%. Earnings growth on value stocks are 4 to 4.5%. If you take the two, we have an average earnings growth was at 8. The dividend yield of 2.5. Earnings growth was dividend yield is 10. I mean, look, we can sit here all day long and argue about the Fed controlling the market. I don't buy it for sure. The whole point about don't fight the Fed is when the Fed is raising, it makes bonds look more attractive in the short term. So wait until the Fed stops raising, they get out of bonds, go back to stocks. Okay, you can do that. I've got no qualm with that. I literally could care less. For me, I look at the long term and say, what is the stocks likely to do? They're likely to increase earnings or they're likely to decrease earnings. If they're likely to increase earnings, then I want to be part of that. If they're likely to decrease earnings and at least maintain their dividend, we take the earnings increase year over year plus a dividend, even if it's flat, and we add those two together, and that's what you're going to get. That's literally as easy as it can be, and is based on people who are somewhat well known: John Bogle, Robert Schiller, Jeremy Siegel, many others. The basic equation of predicting stock market returns: earnings growth year over year plus dividend yield. You take those two things, that's what you're going to get. Do I expect earnings growth year over year to be 15%? No. That's the trailing 12, trailing 24 months. Do I expect earnings growth to be 5 to 5.5%? Yeah, I do. And so I'm very comfortable saying we're going to get between 7.5%. That my stock projections on Right Capital software is 7.5. 5.5% earning growth, a 2% dividend yield, or 5% earnings growth and 2.5% dividend yield. I got no problem with that. I think that's actually probably even on the short side. If we get a Trump reelection, I think earnings growth would be more than 5 to 5.5%, because we won't have to worry about the overburdening of regulation that both Bush and Obama put into effect. We don't. We can finally start getting some freaking free markets in here for once and for all. And that'd be good. That'd make earnings growth more for sure. If Warren gets elected, I think 5.5% might be justified. But politics should never dictate earnings growth. At the end of the day, I go to Walmart. It seems like every day. I'm in the grocery store. It seems like every day, as many other people are too. So anyway, expenses. Need to know his expenses. Right on, man. Scooby-Doo, Chris Dorr, right? Expenses is the number one thing to know. Expenses. Nothing else matters. Spectator says he can retire. We don't know. Yep. Starling, what are expenses? When you talk about minimizing taxable income before 65 you need to talk about minimizing taxable income before 65 in order to allow subsidy for Obamacare with an exclamation point. Ah! Yeah. I mean, okay. Yeah, I think you're right, Mike. I think she means roll the lump sum in an IRA too. But that's what I'm saying. If the okay. So I guess it doesn't matter if I use that money at a similar rate just so that I judge the lump sum. Yeah, I mean, you got to look at the lump sum versus the pension amount. I mean, and again, if you got a 600,000 lump sum and you're only getting 25,000 a year as a pension, you know, that probably has a cost of living adjustment because that pension amount is so low. If there's no cost of living adjustment, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. But you know, the lady I was talking about a couple of weeks ago in California, she has a 7.2% distribution rate. So she had $100,000 for simplicity. She's getting $7,200 a year in a pension. That's awful hard to walk away from. On the other hand, if you have $100,000 as a lump sum and you're only getting, you know, $4,200 as a pension, I don't think I'd do that, even if you have a cost of living adjustment. Diana of US Asia, I think is what it said there. I haven't seen you around, so. Of you, Diana Ofu's Asia, I guess. If I won't really need my Roth, it's a good place to save for a house so I can buy with cash in 10 years. If not, where's a better place to save for a house in 10 years? Yeah, Roth would be pretty good. That way you can sell it. But I don't know how old you are, because if you're under 59 and a half, you won't get the earnings out tax free. So a Roth, you got to remember, if you're over 59 and a half, you want to pull it out to buy a house, it's a pretty good move. I got no problem with that. 7.5% is very optimistic on the stock market. I don't think so. Jeez. You can't win them all here, man. Most people say you're underwhelming in your expectations for the market, and now being said I'm optimistic. Okay. Have to chuckle. 7.5% is this. Actually, my course, I tell people, do not use historical rates of return for projecting your future stock performance. You can, and you don't use certainly historical rates of return for projecting bond performance, because bonds are simple. Your current yield, that's your bond return. That's literally no ifs, ands, or buts. Your bond is yielding 3, that's what you're going to get, 3, unless it goes bankrupt. You're not getting more, you're not getting less. But my bond for refund is up 18% this year. Oh, it's fleeting. It will be down 18% next year, or the year after, or it'll be down a portion until it goes back to par value upon maturity, which I've explained in multiple videos. Many people want to use 10 to 12% rates of return on stocks. And I say, how is that going to transpire? With PE ratios, they're not, look, I'm not one of these people who think PE ratios are significantly higher. I don't follow the CAPE ratio, the cyclically adjusted price to earnings metric, which a lot of naysayers do. I don't, because that is based on bonds we're paying 5.5 to 6%. Bonds aren't paying 5.5 to 6%. Bonds are paying 1.8, the 10-year treasury. So if you got a PE ratio of 17, historically is 15, the PE ratio is high. Yes, but you also have a bond that's paying 1.8 when historically is paying 5.5. So that bond is way high, where stocks are just a little bit high. And the alternative investment is real estate. Real estate ain't cheap either. So at the end of the day, I don't think I'm overly optimistic whatsoever. I think it's 7.5% is a good cautious approach for stocks. 3% for bonds and 1% for cash. Actually, it might raise the cash up to 2 because the Fed funds rate is at 2 now, I think. So it might raise the cash up a little bit, but we shall see. If you're new to channel, please make sure you search topics. So scared. Yeah, right on, Starling. The Berkshire Hathaway pension. Don't know anything about it, but if you want to send me some info on it, I'd be happy to take a look. Why choose American funds over Vanguard or Schwab? Net worth of 1.5 million. So understand advisor fees would be minimal, if not non-existent. Why not? Can you not do one and do both? So with American funds with over $1 million, you get at NAV. You don't pay any commissions. You're still, if you're going to go with an advisor, you're still going to have a 25 basis point 12B1 fee. I don't have a problem with that. I actually love American funds. I'm a huge fan of American. So I would think what I would be doing in that case is putting $1 million in American funds. It's going to be actively managed, conservative funds, low expense ratios. And you're not paying a commission, and then put the other $500,000 in index funds at Vanguard. That's it. American funds and Vanguard are my 2 favorite portfolios. American funds is active, conservative, high dividend looking. They're conservative, actively managed funds. Their portfolio management is very unique in that they give a guy or a lady a portion of each and every portfolio. So like the the Income Fund of America, or the Investment Company of America is one I want to use. They have like 7 different portfolio managers, and each has like 12%, and they can do whatever they want. So basically, got 7 different portfolios in there, which I think is freaking awesome. And then you have the rest in index funds. I think I would do that 2 seconds flat. Pete to JD Thompson says, I would take the lump sum, invest it. What remains go to your heirs. If you take a pension when you die, there's no money. Well, Pete, if you never do a pension, here's what I tell people all the time: always do a pension with a 20-year period certain. And what that means is it pays you or for 20 years, whichever is longer. So if you die tomorrow, your pension will still pay somebody for 20 years. If you live for 30 years, at your death, it'll stop. But if you die in the first 20, whoever your heirs are will get that pension for the remaining of that 20 years. So if you die in year 8, your heirs will get the pension for the 12 years, if that makes sense. All right, so yeah, John, I'm confused. Yeah, you're saying you have 600,000 already. You said if you would have rolled over your pension into a lump sum, that double your pension. Oh, you double your 401k. So you're saying you already have 600,000 in 401k. If you were to roll over that pension into a lump sum, that double that 600,000 bucks. So you have 1.2 million, which leads me to believe that the lump sum option is either 25,000 as a pension or 600,000 as a lump sum. That's the way I'm understanding that. So if that's the case, where you have a lump sum option of 600,000 bucks, which doubles what you already have in your 401k, or 25,000 a year in pension, I would not take the pension. No way. A couple of potential concerns with civilian sheepdog retiring at 52. You are debt free, but what are your expenses? Yep. Many pensions are discounted before 60. I got a feeling he's got to be an EMT, a first responder, and Anthony. So if my man civilian sheepdog is a first responder and he's leaving work at 50 or above, he can access his retirement plan through the county that he might have, the sheriff's office, through the hospital, whatever he's got as an EMT, through the fireman union or whatever, without paying a penalty. Just remember that the rule of 55 for 401k plans is the rule of 50 for first responders, which also includes Border Patrol, FBI agents, ICE. ICE are evil ICE. Crazy. Those guys, who else does include? But any sheriff, any locality police force, any firemen, whatever. All right, so let's see. Oh, dude. So this guy's, my man, okay, we talked about bonds. You can still get 5% of, yeah, right on. You can still, I write that. I'm a big fan of preferreds. So Vinyl Earth Inc. says you can get 5% on preferreds with a qualified dividend. Look, man, PFF, I will recommend that till I'm blue in the face. PFF, you should not buy it. I'm recommending it to myself because I do not know your situation. Whoever's out there, I'm saying PFF. I'm not saying you should buy it. I like it. It's a preferred stock ETF. I'm a huge fan. I literally don't know what the yields are anymore. But like my man here says, if you're getting 5%, it's a preferred stock and it's qualified. You're not going to get much growth in preferred stocks. Just remember that. Preferred stocks, you don't buy for growth like a typical stock. Man, you're getting 5% tax as a qualified dividend. I'm a huge fan of that for sure. Floating rate ETFs, like I don't know what FLOT or Florin is. All I know is I got hammered at floating rate bonds back in 2006, 7, and 8. I remember Hartford guy, my wholesaler at Hartford came through, and Hartford said, we've had a floating rate fund that has beaten the bond market by X amount year and never had a down year, blah, blah, blah. And then kaboom, we got killed. So I would probably stay away from floating rate funds just because they're still relatively new in the overall investment area. And just my experience was I got hammered. It wasn't worth the small increase in yield to get hammered like they did. I think they were down like 35%. It was nuts. My expenses, my man, civilian sheepdog, with my expenses would be approximately $1,500 a month, and that includes healthcare, and your pension will be $3,000. You got $185,000. You're 52, dude. But just because you're retired doesn't mean you don't have to do something to make an income. You maybe raise sheepdogs or something like that, civilian sheepdog. I mean, what do you want to do? I don't know, but you don't have to stop. I mean, do something, earn an income of some sort. I mean, you don't have to, but if you got more than enough money to pay your bills, yeah, quit your crappy old job, but find something else you want to do. You don't want to be sitting around watching Rachel Maddow or Sean Hannity. You'll go insane. All right, here we go. JD, finally, this is what we're getting at. I think my lump sum would be between $400,000 and $500,000, but I don't know it yet. I will need to decide fairly quickly to figure out what to do. All right, finally, that's where we're shooting for. All right, some of the times, my friends, if just ask, just say specifically, this is my circumstance. What do you think? No reason to go all these various, it's tough to follow. All right, so we're going to say JD Thompson has a lump sum between $400,000 and $500,000. We'll split the difference. We're going to say $450,000. Her pension will be $25,000. 25 divided by 450 is a 5.5% distribution yield. Now, my friend JD is in the late 50s, if memory serves. So 5.5 in the late 50s. Without a cost of living adjustment, which I can almost assure you there is not, I don't think I'd do it. I think I'd do the lump sum. That's right about the place where 5.5, and we know there's no survivor benefit here. So we know that she, she's just living for herself now. So if I'm only having a 5.5% distribution yield, now that's actually pretty good, relatively speaking, but it's not a survivor life. It's not a joint survivor life. It's just on one life. I don't think I'd do it. I think I'd take the lump sum. I do too, Mike. I think I'd take the lump sum, and you may or may not rue that day, but at least you have the ability to change tack. And also, you said you needed like $25,000 on top of the $25,000 until Social Security kicks in. Yeah, man, you just take that from that amount of money right there, JD, and you're living large, in my opinion. I mean, you don't have to make it super duper aggressive. You put in like we're just talking about. The PFF is right now 5.63. And that alone pays you more than the pension. It's not guaranteed, I get you, but you're getting 5.63 without touching your principal. Now, look, there's going to be some up and down. Good question. Is a PFF leverage? I don't know. That's a great question. That's a great question. I wish more people would ask that question about leverage. The Bill Gross Total Return Bond Fund was heavily leveraged, and no one knew that for many, many years. I don't think it still is. It might well be. I don't know. But it had 33%. So they used to have these things. What are they called? 120. I can't remember. They're 120, 80. I forgot what they're called. But I think Bill Gross had like 33%. He had 133 assets, 133% investable assets. You're like, how the hell do he has that? Because 33% of his portfolio was margined. Now, that scared the hell out of me. So JD, I don't think I'd take that pension. I think I'd take the lump sum. 5.5 is okay, but it's not. Yeah. So Mike C said he has 6.4% choice, but it's 100% survivor. I would take that in a heartbeat without question. 6% is kind of my rule of thumb for a single. If I got a single and a 6%, I'm taking that in 2 seconds flat. If I'm married, filing jointly, and I'm getting 6.5 for the joint life survivor, I'm taking that for sure. Anything less than 6, I'm going to think about for sure. Anything less than 5, I'm not touching. 5.5%, JD's right there in the middle, but given that she's not even 60 yet, I would take the lump sum. What's your thought on Class B Berkshire? Warren does not believe in dividends. Should I cash out company stock, move over to a Vanguard fund? I mean, you can't argue with Berkshire Hathaway, man. I just, at the end of the day, the answer to that is I don't know, but man, awful hard to argue at Berkshire Hathaway. On your kilowatt expense, are you calculating all the fees and taxes? They add up. I just get my monthly bill here, and one time I actually clean up my thing. I need that bill, and I don't have it. I don't think. Hold on. I don't have it. So let's just say I have $1,800, 1,800 kilowatt hours used, and my bill was $300. We'll just say it's about 18. That's 16 cents a kilowatt hour. But that's all things considered. So that would be fees and everything too. That seems on the high end, actually. I think, but I think that's about right. I might average about $300 a month and about 1,800 kilowatt hours a month. So I guess that's what you're saying there, Aaron, that you're going to talk about the fees and all that too. Well, I guess that makes sense. Hold on a second. I got to look at this. Hey, Pablo, you're a good boy. Let's see here, son. All right, so here's one, and this is from June. All right, so in June, I did 2115 kilowatt hours. The first 500 kilowatt hours was 7.6 cents. The next 500 was 7.3 cents. And then remember, this is in the middle of summertime. And the next, anything above the 1,000 was 8.6 cents per kilowatt hour. Now they charge me 1 cent kilowatt hour wholesale power cost adjustment. So 1 cent, 1 penny kilowatt hour wholesale power cost adjustment. A franchise fee is $7.77. A sales tax, 7 3/4 freaking sales tax. And then I do a load management rebate. So my current bill in this month was $208 on 2115, 208 divided by 2115. 9.8 cents a kilowatt hour. That's in June. So, and that was in June. All right, there you go. So that's pretty good. And then in July, I had 2791 kilowatt hours. The July before that, 2101. So, yeah, so that makes that there you go. That's my kilowatt hours right there. So the month before, in May of 2009, I had 1738 kilowatt hours. 177 was my fee. That's 10 cents a kilowatt hour. The month before that was 277 divided by 2456, 11 cents a kilowatt hour. And don't forget, we use natural gas to heat our house, by the way. So that, we don't just, we obviously have natural gas, electricity, but we use natural gas to heat as well. Yeah, civilian sheepdog, you work for the county. So I don't know what kind of worker you are, but you might be able to take the post 50, depending on the kind of work you have. PFF has some risky stuff. They have GMAC. PFF holds 476 different preferred. That's pretty, it's funny. Going back to preferred stocks, I had a number of clients in bank preferred stocks in the late, in 2007. And because they were, freaking, you get Wells Fargo, Bank of America prefers like 6.5. Their CDs are paying like 3. Their bonds are paying like 3. And the preferred stocks proceeded to get cranked. Now, it killed. Now, what happened was many of those banks paid 1 cent a share on the dividend. This is the thing to understand with preferred stocks. As long as they pay a dividend, the preferreds get paid the full amount. And so a lot of the banks, they still paid 1 cent a share, in which they did that, not because they wanted to say, for some reason they want to say that they never got rid of dividends. But it was actually so they can continue to pay the preferred shareholders. And I'll never forget that. So at least the clients who did not sell those preferred stocks at a huge loss, bank prefers, they got their dividends, which was a freaking, you couldn't get anything near that in 2008, 9, and 10. Nothing. But the people who panicked and got out of them, they got skunked. There's no other way around it. And as long as they made 1 penny a share of dividends, you still got your prefers. I'm a big fan of prefers. I am. So in this case, my man Vinyl Earthlink and I disagree on the performance of stocks. I think we both agree on prefers. I just think they're great. Now, you're not going to get that because it says stocks. People think you're going to get the same appreciation. You don't. They're a quasi-bond, quasi-stock. Yeah, JD, are you 56 now? I thought you were on. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, 56 and a half at 5. Eesh. 56 and get a 5.5% pension. I still think I'd take the survive. Let's take the lump sum. Because you got, I mean, you think about it, you got 30 years, you'll be 86 years old, and that pension is going to be fixed and it's going to drop in value by taxes and inflation. Yeah, I think I still take, you're too young. I just think, but I'll let you decide that. But man, that's tough to turn that around. 50, that's a tough decision to make. I think I go with the lump sum. My man Tom, thanks for being the moderator. I've noticed, Tom, since you've been on here, I don't have any idiots on here anymore, and much obliged. Yeah, look at that, man. Oh, this is painful. Vinyl Earth Inc. says he bought a ton of prefers in 2009 when they're down about 90%. Yep. Oh, man. Painful to see, because that was I mean, anyone again, cash. If you got cash, you can make it count. All right. Tom says, met a guy yesterday who owns 4 temporary buildings on a local Navy base that have been going for 20 plus years. He's earning $1.5 million a year in rent for the Navy alone. I want to be that guy. Well, we're paying him. We're paying him with our rent. All right, this is gonna be the last question, so I can take old Bob for a walk here. Do I recommend having a certain amount of guaranteed income beyond Social Security? Well, I had these folks today. It's funny because the Monte Carlo shows that they're going to run out of money, but they're not going to run out of money because they have a pension and 2 Social Securities that are well more worth than their expenses. So running out of money is funny because they run out of money until Social Security kicks in, and then because they have a whole lot more surplus, more than they can ever spend, they start rebuilding their savings account. So it shows them running out of money. Then right at 70, their Social Security kicks in, and they have millions to give to their kids. That's why Monte Carlos are silly. But the point is, they don't have to worry about stocks or anything because the market is irrelevant if you have a guaranteed income source. So I don't know of the specific amount, but having a guaranteed income source will let you sleep better at night. I mean, that's what it also comes down to. I say to people, how are you going to sleep better at night? Would $25,000 a year allow you to sleep better at night? If it does, then take the pension. I mean, 5.5% for someone in their mid 50s, that's pretty good. I can't lie to you. That's not bad. Is it what ultimately pay off? Well, the thing is, what if you're wrong? You got 300,000 in Roth and not 600,000 in a 401k. I mean, all right, if you're wrong on the markets, well, the pension will be good to have. If you're right on the market, so you still got $900,000 that can grow. So why not? Well, I don't know. It just seems to me in that case, then you take the pension. Look, I can be wishy-washy because there's no right answer. You say, okay, I'm going to take the pension because this 900,000 can grow and grow and grow. If I put it all in here and that just goes to crap, I'm in a world of hurt. Something to think about. All right, my friends. Mucho gracias. More multilingual stuff here. Kak de la, that's Russian for how are you? And that's pretty much all I know. Donkey shorts, that means thanks in German. See you all. Happy Thanksgiving. I will be chowing, but I got lots of videos to do. I can't wait to do these 2 tomorrow. I'm going to wait till I got this one. Hold on just a second. I want to share it with you. It's silliness from the reality of the retirement crisis from the Center for American Progress, which is the big left-wing thing. And then Yahoo, I think, had Yahoo. Many Americans over 65 face economic insecurity, even if they're unhealthy, even if they're healthy. So I'm going to hit these 2 up because I can't wait to hammer those because those are going to be fun. I had those tabs open for a long time because I've been wanting to talk about these. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate y'all being here. Thanks again. Thanks now. Thanks for your comments. Thanks now. All right, Pablo, you ready?